Living every day in your head for free. You can tap away, but I will not hear you scream. You can break your keys, spread your toxicity, your world outside reality. In your room, a little hideaway, but you let it through. Enough to go insane, living in the dark hasn't treated you well. You're building your did I brush you off? Is it your lack of friends? We never met, even if you pretend. Am I in your debt? I don't owe you nothing. Don't say something you'll regret. Hate, rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, lies telling you don't waste it on me. Hate, rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, lies telling you don't waste it on me. Rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, lies telling you don't waste it. I'm telling you don't waste it. Lies telling you don't waste it on me.
Now, hello everybody, welcome to the Midweek Mix-Up. This is our 3-year anniversary, episode 121.
Let's
3
go.
whole years of Midweek
Let's
Mix-Up
go.
already. Can't believe it. It's been
Time
a
flies,
wild
insane.
ride. It's been a long time. But it's been fun. It's been fun. There's been some ups, some downs. We've had some awesome panel members along the way that aren't on the panel anymore. Some awesome new members that are here. Some guests, and it's been a blast. So welcome everybody. Welcome to the Midweek Mix-Up podcast again. Starting year number 4.
From today, yeah?
It's crazy. It's crazy how time Crazy. flies, man.
Isn't it just?
I still remember you hitting us up and not even really asking whether we want to do a podcast, just making a Twitter group and, hey guys, you're the new panel members for the new podcast we start this Wednesday, by the way. And we were all just like, all right.
It was much easier to get used to agree to it though when we're all in lockdown.
Yeah, definitely.
You've got nowhere else to be, guys. So here you go.
You just go around handing subpoenas out, going, there you go. You're on the podcast, whether you like it or not.
It was so awesome. Yeah, it was strange times. I mean, as much as the pandemic sucked, and it most certainly did. The good thing about, especially the first year of the pandemic, really was like gaming had such a hype wave. Like everyone was at home gaming. There was this excitement around the new consoles coming out. This was like the lead up to the year of the lead up to the launch of the current gen consoles, and like that you founded your channel, I founded mine, and everyone was like excited for the games, the new gen, and everything. It was just for gaming. It was a fantastic time. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And there was a lot to talk about. We did it like during
Yeah.
obviously during the lockdown, but there was still game shows going on. There was still announcements. Like one of
Yes.
the few things that's one of the first kind of podcasts we were doing was talking about Sony's show, their showcase, and then speaking about the Xbox showcase and watching that live. So it kind of it fell in line with the right time to start a show as well, when all of the game announcements were happening. So it was a fun time. It was a fun time, but yeah, it's been mad. And like I said,
it was a ticking time bomb.
yeah,
We were we knew that we were getting all those games that had been being made
Yeah.
before the pandemic,
Yeah.
but we all knew at some point it was all going to stop, and boy, did it ever.
oh, too right,
Mm.
too right, too right. And Pat, when we first kind of got you on as well, it's been a big change for you, because when you first come on the show, you were kind of a gamer, but not like super gamey. You were like Call of Duty only,
Yeah.
and like the occasional sports game and things like that, but not really that much. But I think you've changed a lot since we first started, in a good way, of course, in a much better way. I think you're
Yeah.
far more confident as well.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Because last week I rewatched some of the streams. I did it live on my Twitch channel, and it was so funny to see the first 2-3 shows. The way it is now and the way it was back then. That was crazy because it was all new, and like you said, back in the days I only played PUBG because that was every show it was PUBG.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So like now in this 3 years, I've played so many games thanks to you guys, and also thanks to the people in the chat, of course, that like gave recommendations and stuff. And yeah, this 3 years been crazy, man. I enjoyed it so much, and I'm looking forward to much more years coming. So
Yeah, definitely. It's been an absolute blast, and welcome to. I want to say a big welcome to Marion, of course, a guest here today again, but also
Yes.
thank you for 21 months as a member as well. You're saying 3 years of
Yeah.
awesomeness here for the next 3 years and beyond, most definitely. Welcome,
Oh,
sir.
yes.
You've been an awesome moderator, almost pretty much from the beginning. So thank you for that first of all. But great to have you, bro. How's it been?
Of course. Well, I've been really stressed in the past couple of days
Yeah.
and weeks, but it's finally over and I can start enjoying some games.
Well done, man.
And-
Well done.
I wanted to celebrate, of course, with you guys because I know it's been 3 years since the beginning of the podcast, and it's been a wild ride. I still remember the first 2 or 3 podcasts you guys did back in the day, a few years back.
Yeah.
I can't believe how much the channel grew and how much all of you evolved over each podcast. It's amazing, and I'm looking forward to see what else is coming in the future.
Yeah, most definitely.
awesome,
And
man.
again, thank
Thanks,
you for
Marion.
being an awesome moderator as well over the 3 years.
Always a pleasure.
I know you've been super busy this year with and tail end of last year with university and things like
yeah.
that. But I want to say congratulations to you as well for getting everything you
Thank you
needed
very
out of that. You've got all your qualifications. You've got everything passed now.
Oh yeah.
So congratulations.
Oh, yeah.
And
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
here's to the future for you as well,
Congrats,
brother.
Marianne.
Thank you.
Oh, a quick shout out as well before we get to the other panel members. Welcome, Dazarus, he says. Seeing as it's 3 years, he's joined as a Midweek Mixup Recruit channel member, so thank you very much there. Of course, we introduced the lowest band that we could, so that if you did want to support, you can do that. It's only 99 pence a month. So thank you very much for that. Of course, every little helps, and we much appreciate the support. And Daz has been there since the start as well. He's had his own podcasts and things in the past, and I know he kind of does things from time to time. So thank you guys as well. Sorry, Daz, for the continued support as well, bro. It means a lot. Same applies to Stu, who's one of our more resident moderators now, along with Marion. He's been a member for 16 months as well now. Said, let's go, 3 years of greatness with a midweek mix-up. Thank you very much, and again, keep up the awesome work as a moderator. Much appreciated. But yes, Shom, you were also one of the starters. It's been a while. It's been a long time.
Yeah. It has been a long time. It has been. Some would say too. No, I'm joking. It's not too long.
Some would say too long.
Yeah. Before I get going, Jen, I think Jen wants to get in.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't
Yeah.
spotted.
Oh, yeah.
I'll
There
bring
he
you back,
is.
Jen. Don't worry.
There you go.
Hello.
Jen.
Hey, there we go.
Hello.
What's up, Jen?
Happy anniversary, everyone.
Happy anniversary.
Anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
anniversary.
To you too.
But yes, go on, Sean.
I can't remember what the question was. It just how I was.
Yeah, but obviously,
That's
you've-
my fault.
You were just about to tell us how you've been here for too long.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's it.
You thoroughly
Longer than the first humans ever existed.
I can't remember who the original people were. Was it Dutch? Me.
It was me,
Erwin.
you, yeah. So originally it was, I think the first, what we would class as the pilot episodes, the first 2 episodes, it was me, you, Erwin, Pat.
Yeah.
Then it was
Right.
me, you, Erwin, Pat, Boxenberger. Then we got,
I was there from episode 2. dude.
yes, there we go.
I only, missed,
Two.
I only missed the first one because you announced it like 10 hours before the show started.
10 hours. How much time do you want?
Like,
Come on.
I will never forget that. It was like, geez, now this motherfucker is founding his podcast. And there's no fucking way you can do that. And so I was there from show number 2. Yeah, I missed the first one.
But yeah, then we got Broyer on board for a little bit. And then obviously he got super busy with work and
Yeah.
things like that, and he just he decided to go his separate ways, which is awesome. And of course, all the best to him wherever he is and whatever he's doing these days. Then of course we had
Yeah,
Chris on.
that's. Oh yeah, we had Chris. Then we had that Sega weirdo Vin, didn't we?
Yeah, Vin was on for a bit. Yeah, that's the guy there.
That pineapple-loving,
Pineapple-loving guy.
sweet Dutch.
Yeah.
The Scalebound and
Come
Sonic
on,
Fanatic.
come on.
Strange,
Pineapple on
guy.
pizza is so sweet, guys. You have to accept it.
Hey.
Enough of that
I-
slander.
Dutch, kick him out.
Yeah.
Kick him out. We don't need that nonsense here.
We don't need no
dear me.
Skies of Acadian lover in our chat or in our podcast.
Although Skies of Acadia is awesome.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Got him.
It
He's
is.
got that one right. It's the one thing he got right.
Yeah, you got one thing. Yeah, everyone's allowed one. And of course, Erwin, with work and things like that, he's had to push back a bit, and Vinny's the same with either work and kind of feeling a little bit distant because, of course, he joined because of Erwin, and with Erwin stepping back, he felt a little bit out of sorts and didn't feel he fit in a little bit. So, but he's thereabouts and he hangs around and joins in from time to time, so he's still a
Not
part of
good
it.
enough for him. Is that what it is?
He don't. To be fair, he used to stream quite a bit, but he doesn't stream that often these days, if at all.
Yeah.
So he's
been
kinda
off
stepped
for
back on
quite
that as
a
well.
while.
Yeah. But of course, then the rest of the awesome gang
Rabble.
appeared. That was Mick and Jen. Of course, filling in the spaces that were left, the empty seats that were left by Erwin and Vin, and some awesome additions as well. But
Yes. Crazy. Crazy how time flies. I think I've been a part of the show for like 2 years.
you have, yeah.
So
You have.
yeah, it's
2 years
Crazy.
already?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
What?
Yep. Mad.
Okay.
Yep, mad.
Man, time
Crazy.
flies, man. Hey, but Dutch, before you continue, I
Yes.
saw also Beer and Plug.
Yes, we've got a couple
I
actually.
remember.
We've got one from Misuko, €2.49 super chat there, and he says huge congrats with clinking glasses. So thank you, Misuko. Have an awesome evening, sir. Hope you enjoy it, and thank you for the support. And of course, Perrenpluk, member for 21 months as well. So the start of our memberships. Thank you very much for the ongoing support there. I know you migrated over from Patreon to that, so you've been a supporter since day one as well. And of course, an awesome friend as well that we have known and have known in person. So thank you for the support, brother, and keep up the awesome work you do with your streaming as well. But yeah, Mick,
awesome.
Jen, it's been a blast having you two part of the show as well. We've created things together. We've started new shows together. It's been great having you part of it. It's good
It's
to
been a
have
blast being a part of it.
the
I
one.
never thought I'd be in the podcast world until I took my first steps in coming on the show. And I might not be on camera now, but I battled my fear of being on camera thanks to being on this show. So I owe a lot of thanks to that.
Oh, definitely.
Likewise. Thank you very much.
Yeah, likewise, because I was the same.
I didn't like you said, Jen. I didn't think I'd ever sort of get on a podcast. I was honoured to be asked, and don't regret it for a minute. It's been a blast. Thanks for having me.
No, it's been awesome. And the one thing I like
Hey,
about the panel
don't make
as
me
well
cry,
is
guys. Jesus.
the one thing I love about the panel though, and it's always been the same from day dot, is we always have we don't always see eye to eye on opinions. We always pull each other on our thoughts and our opinions on things, and we
Like
never always
pineapple on
agree.
pizza.
And
Are
that's a good thing.
we always time people out who talk about pineapple on pizza?
Yeah. Or scale bound.
Muted box.
Yeah, any of those words are banned. But no, it's that's what I like about it is we, even as a panel and as close as we are, we're not afraid to kind of have contrasting opinions and pull each other up on things, and that's the best way to be. We're not an echo chamber between each other, and that includes everything. But we've cultivated the same attitude in the chat. Like everyone's respectful of each other's opinion, and everyone's kind of gets on well, and there's no misbehaving in the chat, and anybody who tries to be toxic swiftly removed.
Can I just quickly say it was Dave Mack. You're welcome about I recommended the 8-bit do adapter for the Nintendo Switch. Means you can just plug your good old Xbox and not even plug, just use your wireless controller from your Xbox on your Switch. Infinitely better than using the Pro controllers, which break instantly. Mine came with stick drift out of the box. So yeah, just world better device than trying to use Nintendo's products, I'm afraid.
I've been lucky. The only ones that I've had stick drift out the box with are the Joy-Cons. I bought a pair of Joy-Cons and they were out the box broken.
My other Switch that I gave to my son, he's been using it quite a bit, playing Tears of Kingdom since I got this one.
Yeah.
And he's already now, because he's been using it loads, his experiences stick drift on the original, on the original Joy-Cons. So I says, your problem now. You deal with it. I've got a new one. Your problem. You buy some new ones.
Yeah. Exactly. I want to say a quick time out to Daz in chat there, who says, "Cannot the long pressure to replace Christmas dinner." No.
See, guys, Daz gets it.
He does not. Daz does not get it.
The only thing he gets is a timeout.
Because Dutch,
He's not wrong about Christmas dinner though. Something does need to replace it because it's fucking shit.
Oh yeah.
What were you saying, Pat?
Christmas dinner is overrated. You're muted, by the way, Boxy.
I don't know what you're talking about. We have something different every Christmas. So
Same, I would say the same.
Let me rephrase that. UK Christmas dinner is trash.
what are you guys having on Christmas dinner?
It's pretty much like a roast.
Yeah, it's
a roast
with turkey usually.
but with like turkey and a few other
The,
things.
the problem
it's
is in the
still
UK,
trash in my
we have
opinion.
roasts pretty much every other week, so it's not like too dissimilar to what we always have.
There's
would in this
weirdos out
house.
there that have a roast every Sunday.
Yeah, we would in this house if the missus had her way, but when I have to clean all of the fecking pots, it ain't happening.
To be honest, that's probably what put me off of having roasts, because when I was younger, we used to have it every Sunday, and then I just grew tired of it. I was like, this is shit. Why are we eating this?
Wait, sorry, Pat, what were you going to say?
Well, like you are thanking everybody, of course, that joined, that's been part of the podcast as well. But also, I want to thank you, of course. You made this possible. You brought some people together as well. Good friendships came out of it, and thank you for that, Dutch. Because it's been a crazy ride. We had the charity streams for the last 2 years. It was a blast, of course.
Yeah, and shout out to that as well, Pat. Good for bringing that up. We've, of course, over the last 2 years, and we've only been doing it 2 years, we've raised over $4,000 for charity in 2 years. So, of course, we'll be doing the same at the tail end of this year. We'll be raising for charity. I think we're going to do it we're just going to do one charity this year between we. Makes it easier instead of trying to do 2-3 charities.
2 separate.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's
and of course that's also because of the community, all the people that are in the chat right now, and also the people outside of that. Thank you for that also, for the support that you guys give us. So yeah, Dutch, big thank you to you, man, for bringing this community together and just having a blast for the last 3 years, man. So appreciate it.
Absolutely. I want to add on that, because Pat is absolutely right that you have gathered an amazing community here on this channel, but also outside of this channel. I see you constantly help out new people getting into content creation. You help them out, maybe on Twitch, maybe here on YouTube, maybe somewhere else. I see you permanently, like helping people out, helping with intros, overlays, or whatnot. And hang on, the mailman is here. Thank you.
I like how you just passed it through your window.
It's like I'm very sorry. It's all good. I'm sitting here right next to the window, and that's next to the door.
He's got the autograph book out. He's coming back.
Was that actually the mailman, or did you just call the missus the mailman and she's going to kick
No, it's actually the mailman. I'm sitting here next to the window.
Invite him in, get him on the show.
During the day, it's like, because right next to this window is our house door. And so like whenever a mailman or someone comes to the door, they can directly look in here and see me sitting on the desk. And it's like during the day, all the mail for all the neighbors, everyone just handing me stuff in here through the window. So it was actually the mailman. Yeah, it was not the wife. The wife would come in through that door.
I was just waiting for this slap noise straight after it. What you doing?
No. Oh God, Lord, no. But Dutch, seriously, I don't know anyone else out there in this community that helps people out as much as you do, and this is simply fantastic. So a big thank you for that, man.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well said.
Thank you. No, it's great. It's where we started, and of course, I always say you kind of pay it forward, and that's the best way I do it. And of course, all you guys do what you can to support others as well. So if we incorporate that as our mentality and our attitudes for everybody else, then that's all I can ask for. So, and they do the same, and that's what I love to see as well. Anybody who I help usually helps other people. So,
that's the thing, though. Like, if you're not helping people, then what's the point? That's a part of being a community. You help each other out.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah. So that's the one thing I love about it as well, is that I do it, but I just hope to see that's reciprocated to others, not to me specifically, and that's exactly what happens. I help others, and they help others, and the ball rolls on. So I'm glad to see that continue. Shout out to a few members as well. Paulie FC, 16-month membership there, and he says, happy 3rd birthday to the Midweek Mix-Up. Massive. Thank you very much there, Paul, and thank you for your continued support as well. Lord Metroid, 2-month mix-up recruit. Thank you very much, sir, for the continued support. And same for Fanto, sir, as well, with 16 months as a mix-up recruit, and Valkyrie and all the other memberships you've had. So thank you for your continued support as well there, Fanto, and of course, being an awesome moderator as well. And I hope you feel better, because I know you're under the weather again at the moment and not feeling too good. So get well soon. But yeah, guys, it's been an absolute blast. It's mad to see how we've evolved, and again, that now Boxy's got his own podcast and things. It's a little bit different, so we're always trying to improve in some way, shape, or form what we do every time, and it gets more difficult as time goes on. What can we do to improve? What can we add on to it? How do we change things? And it's things like just stylization, making it look prettier, making the intros nicer, making all this stuff jazzier. But then kind of obviously the content that we produce through our increased knowledge and our increased kind of learning over the years is paid off, of course, because that means we can kind of bring more informed content to people as well over that time. So the more we learn about things, we can pass on that knowledge. So it's been great kind of working hand in hand with all you as creators and people, and watching everybody grow, including those in the community. So yeah, it's been a blast. I can't wait to see what we come up with next and what the future holds and where we go. I've always said I want a midweek mix-up to be able to be a standalone thing that is self-sufficient, that we start doing game reviews and we get a website at some point and do actual journalism from a perspective there, and becomes a form of company. I'd like that, and then on the back end of that, support more creators. That's essentially what I'd like to do is get more creators involved in it, get more startups there that have the same attitude and same principles, and go from there. So yeah, bring on the next 3 years and more of Midweek Mix-Up. And another quick shout out to Jesper from Copenhagen. Huge. He sends in 45 DKK. I think that's Denmark krona.
Denmark, yeah.
That is huge. Congrats on 3 awesome years. Just checked, and I've been watching you guys since episode 8. Oh, awesome! So he's a long stander as well.
Cool.
Nice.
An OG.
Thank you, Jesper. Thank you. Jesus wept. 8 episodes. So one of the first ones, then, eh? Dear me. So you've seen it when it was bad.
On the side note, on the whole podcasting and everything, if anybody's interested, I don't know if you saw these on Twitter, but there are t-shirts available.
Starfield one.
And
Yes.
Starfield, it's got a big same logo but bigger on the back as well.
Yes.
Oh,
If
nice.
you want any of that stuff, it's on the Spring. Is it spring.com?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So go and check that out. All the details are in Dutch's bio.
Yes, definitely. We've got the
Awesome.
Gamescom t-shirts on there now as well. And we've got Starfield one. We've got a new one with a huge Viking with the Midweek Mix-Up shield and axe on there, as well as a front piece on the shirt for a chain. So there's a few new bits there. There's flat caps and everything on there. So plenty of merch there for anybody who wants to rep us on the merch front. But yes, lots to go. But let's get into the actual meat and potatoes of it, chaps. The actual news, the gaming news. So as much as we hate
happened, did it? It was a bit quiet, wasn't it?
as much as we hate talking about the FTC, CMA, and all that malark, there was some cool stuff that did come out the back of it that we haven't touched on because, of course, we haven't been here last week. The thing is of course this huge leaked list of companies that Microsoft were looking at to acquire or invest in or likewise, that shouldn't have been unredacted, that should have been redacted, but unfortunately it was. So we saw this huge list, There's a few very interesting names on there. Some very interesting names. And I kind of wanted to get into that. And of course, some of the companies haven't really distanced themselves from it either since then.
Nope.
The key player being Sega. Now, of course, Sega is
Yeah.
one of the big
Can't
ones that
believe
stood
I
out.
can't believe Vin missed this podcast.
I know.
Oh yeah.
The big one being Sega, and that was obviously one of the standouts there. Of course, they also had the likes of EA on there. They also had the likes of Ubisoft on there. They had Square Enix on there. So there's a few that they've been weighing up. There's a few that they've thoroughly investigated. Sega haven't really distanced themselves from it either, because they've just said, like, we are where we are right now, essentially, and as it stands, we're okay not being acquired, but they haven't really said we don't want to be. They haven't said, no, that was absolutely false. So there's obviously some level of
previously,
discussion.
when that leak first came out, I think they actually did comment saying, no, Microsoft haven't approached us
Yeah.
about any such thing. That was a lie.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, yeah.
There was a few of them that said that, and I've forgotten who else was it. And they were like, no, we haven't been like they haven't spoke to us at all. And then it turns out that they clearly have, because there's a whopping great list of
IO Interactive,
that.
Techland.
Yeah.
Techland was one that said that they hadn't, and there was distinctly a picture of Satya Nadella in Techland's main hall with their logo behind it.
Yeah.
So it's like, you sure they
Well,
didn't?
it depends. It really depends. We have to take this list for what it actually is. It just because they are on the list of Microsoft doesn't necessarily mean that there have been extensive talks.
Yeah.
Like, I would be surprised if PlayStation over there does not have the same list. Honestly, maybe of course some different names, but of course they are running a multi-billion-dollar business. Is what Microsoft is running over there. So of course they are going to look, and they're gonna look into, okay, which are really worth for deeper investigation. What would be the benefits business-wise, portfolio-wise? Of course there are these kind of metrics. And it just shows you that they run their business smartly, yeah, that they have a plan, an agenda that they want to pursue. And seriously, Sony has the same list, 100%, where they just look into which studios make sense. And I mean, you just need to look at Sony. For the last 18 months, they've been buying studios left and right, yeah? Like, they bought 10 studios over the last 18 months or so.
Yeah.
Of course they have the same list, yeah? So I wouldn't say that it's necessarily untrue that there haven't been talks if Techland comes out and say that, just because Microsoft has them in there, like, okay, what would we gain if we have a Techland or whatever other studio in there? Doesn't necessarily mean that they were in like acquisition talks per se. Yeah, there have been these, like, I don't remember whether it was 12 or 13 studios that from that list that they said, okay, those were in like deeper investigations, one of them being of course Sega, and with those I expect them to have actual talks. The others might just be like, okay, we have them on our radar, you know.
Yeah. The one thing I loved about the list specifically was the what does this company bring to Microsoft, or what would they bring to Microsoft? What is their benefit?
Yeah.
That was and that wasn't for every one of them, because they had a huge list, and the ones the kind of breakdown of the ones that I feel were the ones that they were investigating more. So you had like a list of like 100 studios, and then you had another sheet, like 2 pages, that were breakdowns of, I think, about 15 to 20 studios that were more in-depth looked at. Some of them publishers, a lot of them just studios. And there was a few interesting things on there. Quick shout out to Boom in chat as well there. Hello, brother, how you doing? Yeah, there was a few in there that I liked, kind of how they approached it. They were like, these guys are technically really, really proficient. Bring a lot on the technology front. These guys are really good at AAA gaming and AAA first-person experiences and narrative adventure games. So this is why we like these. these are really good at mobile experiences, so we would consider these to maybe come on board as a mobile developer. These offer kind of really great cloud technologies or cloud experience, and would be great to have these on board. And for this reason, and kind of give a good breakdown as to what every studio would bring on board, and kind of they kind of size, and it detailed how many staff that they had, how many people, like the overhead was, and things like that. So like, okay, well, this guy's like 10 people, this is 4 people, this is it's like 100 plus, this is like 20. So it kind of give you a real breakdown of everything, and it was that was an interesting insight as to how Microsoft approach procurement. And it's not something we've ever seen before on that front in the industry. We haven't seen how they approach buyouts before. And I like the way that Microsoft are doing it, because it's not just it's obvious that this is what they've done to studios previously. And they mentioned that with the likes of Obsidian, and they mentioned that with Ninja Theory and things like that. Is why do we bring these studios on board? It isn't just because they're low on cash or need the investment, but there needs to be a benefit, because there's been plenty of studios they've worked with, and they're short on cash and things like that. And Microsoft are just like, okay, like what? Other than the marketing deal, there's nothing else we're gonna do, because like you don't add anything else to this business. There's nothing that would fill a gap. Even some of them that were on there simply state fills a requirement or fills a need. So that would say that essentially this developer creates a game that, or a type of game in a genre that we don't compete in or don't compete well in. And that's another great thing. It's like they pinpointing avenues. Okay, where can we improve? That's a good one. And that one.
I mean, that's the thing, right, about this entire ABK case. As tiring as it really is, the great thing about this is that we get like a peek behind the curtain on so many ends over the course of the last 18 months, where we have been constantly discussing ABK. The good thing about this entire thing really is that we learn these things. We have never, like you said, Dutch, we have never seen like, okay, what's the strategy for Microsoft to approach an acquisition? What are the kind of metrics that they look at? Yeah, how do a lot of things work? That's really the thing about this entire case that at least in my opinion still makes it interesting, is because we learn these kind of things, how businesses work, what are the kind of official arguments, what are the real reasons, some of the leaked emails. Really, I didn't know that Matt Booty is such a cutthroat manager. Yeah, but because like I remember us talking about this. Why isn't he much on camera, and why is it always Sarah Bond that is in front of the camera? And at the very end of the day, it's not his job to do a good job in front of the camera. His job is to be a good manager. Yeah, and we could argue about the quality of his work, looking at the game release cadence of Xbox. But boy, did I not think that he is like this kind of, okay, we're gonna outspend Sony kind of manager mentality, which a lot of other managers at Xbox don't have, obviously. And which, don't get me wrong, I probably think it's a good thing, but yeah, that's the kind of stuff I like to learn, and that's the interesting part about this entire case. Yeah, we learned so many things that we didn't know.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of things that we didn't know. There's a lot of things that have come out of that, aside from the studios. Mick, kind of what have you taken away from that huge list? Is there anything on there that kind of really intrigues you about the way that Microsoft have done things or are doing things, or any of the studios that you think, God, I hope to push forward with some of these ones?
I mean, I'd like them to push forward with Sega if it was a thing, just because I think it would make a lot of people happy, especially Vin. But but it's like having Sonic as the sort of mascot of you know that sort of platforming thing for Xbox would be a great boost to Xbox. But personally, IO Interactive, I'd love to see them get that to go forward. And Techland as another one.
Yes.
I don't know whether I think a lot of this stuff is like you said, nobody's really sort of stepped away from it, or a lot of them haven't really distanced themselves from it. It's just kind of been forgotten about quite quickly. I can't see any of it happening anytime soon, if it is. And, you know, it's going to be one of them, isn't it? Microsoft have got the money, and if they need to sell, they're probably just a phone call away.
And that's the thing with regular, I would say regular studios, it's much easier than publishers. Publishers, you need to go through rigmarole of transactions and going through CMAs and FTCs and regulatory bodies, etc. And smaller studios, on the other hand, are an entirely different thing. You can just acquire them. Yes, they still go through regulatory, but they don't have. It's a very quick. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. If it's under, I think the limit is like 200 million. Is it? I thought it was 200 million, but if it's anything under a certain amount, though, they don't even question it.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, I think it's $1 billion. It's like a lot more. Like 200 million really isn't that much money.
I think it's $1 billion
kind of
threshold.
businesses.
I think anything below $1 billion is good to go.
I mean, the way I understood it, there's not really a hard threshold. Like, okay, with this that kind of money, you have to investigate, but that's typically like the range. When it comes to the $1 billion range, this gets like investigated with these smaller deals of a couple of $100 million. These kind of things usually don't get investigated.
Especially like you say, when it's a singular company, it's like if it's a wide stretching and a branching out company that's got like multiple divisions across many areas, then it would get looked into more in depth. But if it's a singular studio with like 100 staff, they're just like what's to investigate? This is clearly like an investment. So
I got onto one of the days and listened to the actual case. There was a Zoom call you could join. There was only 1,000 spaces every day for each of the hearings. So it was gone like that. If you weren't there waiting to press the button the second it went live, you weren't in. And I sat there and listened to the fourth day with Bobby Kotick. And Satya. And yeah, you could almost tell that the judge was getting a bit pissed off with the guy from the FTC, because she had to keep reminding him. It's like, what's that got to do with consumers? You know, she had to keep sort of just saying, I don't care about Sony. We're not debating Sony. We're debating consumers. Why are you not looking after consumers? Why are you worried about Sony? She had to keep reminding him of that. And it was quite an interesting thing to listen to. And the way she kept cutting him off as well was hilarious. Like, I didn't hear the first day, but I believe there was one of the bits where she did cut him off in the first day, and there was an audible gasp. And sort of like,
he was trying to talk about. So he was trying to force them to agree to put everything on PlayStation. So we're not here for that.
He was trying. Well, apparently, Jim. The reason that Sony never signed this 10-year deal, where everyone else did, was Sony was trying to tack stuff onto it, and their thing they wanted tacking onto the 10-year deal was all Bethesda games to come to PlayStation as well.
And they were trying to get him to, under oath, agree to everything whilst he was in court, and she was like, "No, we're not here for that."
And that was when she had to cut him off and go, "This is not a part of this case. This has nothing to do with this. Move on." But like, no wonder.
I mean,
no wonder they didn't sign it, and no wonder Phil didn't let him, just back down. It's like, that ain't happening.
She even called them out for stalling the entire thing, because actually that trial could have been like 6 months ago, also, and obviously, like the FTC was stalling till the very last minute because they knew this big deadline of, I think it's 18th of July or something, mid of July. Is coming up, and after that they have to renegotiate everything, so they knew, and she even called them out for stalling the obvious thing, and it will be very interesting to see.
I was going to say quick shout out as well, briefly, to Fun Speculation Marv in the chat there with a $5 super chat saying congrats on 3 years. Thank you very much there, sir. And congrats on your continued success as well. We joined at pretty much the same time, and you guys have been absolutely flying. So congrats to you, and thank you for the support as well over the years. It's been much appreciated. Yes,
she was that judge though for a lady of her age who's clearly not a gamer. She was on point. She had some really good comments to throw back at
Yes.
him. Like,
Seems like the judge done their research more than the FTC did.
You know,
She
it wasn't
definitely
just that, really. I think the one good thing about the judge, regardless of which way this decision goes, is this judge was learning a lot about the industry in a very short period of time, and she was willing to question everything. She was like, okay, so explain to me what this is. Right, okay, it does X, Y, and Z. Right, okay, well, that sounds like a good proposition. And she was asking about Gamepass, and she was like, okay, so that's good. Yeah, that's a good proposition.
and she's like, what's day and date?
Yeah.
And then he had to explain what day and date was, and she's like, so surely if this deal goes through, then that would then force Sony to just make their service better and try and match it, which is good for consumers, yes? And he's like rabbit in the headlights, kind of.
So, yeah, and she was like, so why don't Sony do that? Why don't Sony just be more competitive?
Yeah.
And they were just like, yeah, well, I can't comment on that. She was like, yeah, but that's the point. Like, this drives competition. Like, if they're going to do this in their service, why won't Sony then have to compete and make their service more and better as well? Like, why wouldn't they do that?
She even said at one point, she's like, so explain to me why the Nintendo Switch isn't part of this. And they tried to explain why it wasn't considered part of it on their terms. And then she said, so the Nintendo Switch is surely a better system then, because you can plug it into your telly and you can take it on a plane with you. So that makes it a better system.
Like, damn it.
He was just like,
you know what's the better system? This guy here. That's the better system.
Yeah. But she's right though. It's just like, well, if it does that and that, then that makes that better. So why is it not considered part of this? She was making a mockery of that guy, and he didn't know what to say half the time.
Yeah.
He just kept repeating the same lines, and she just said, we've had this. Move on. Explain to me why. You know, it was. I'd be very surprised if this doesn't go Xbox's way, but like we said, you just never know, do you?
Yeah.
You just never know.
Yeah, the whole purpose of it is to cast doubt on the main thing. The problem is that the only thing that the FTC have had concerns about wasn't the console thing. It was the cloud, and they took it to PI over cloud, over concerns in cloud, and they only touched on cloud very briefly. So that was the only concern that they could have had, and should have really pressed on, was the cloud thing, and they didn't really press on it. So it's still up in the air as to whether or not they'll grant it on PI because of the confusion around what was discussed.
Yeah.
But
there was a great bit. There was a great line as well where she said, "So, when they had Jim Ryan up, and they questioned him, and they talked about Starfield and other things being exclusive, and he just came out and said, no, I don't think that having exclusives is anti-competitive." And then when she was later questioning the FTC about them having these games as exclusives, she's like, yeah, but the person you're getting this complaint from has already admitted to us under oath, that he doesn't think that these are exclusives are anti-competitive. So what's the difference? If it goes with one, you could just buy an Xbox.
Yeah.
The difference is, it's okay when Sony do it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She got that completely. She's just like, so your argument doesn't make any sense because the person you're arguing for has already admitted that it isn't anti-competitive.
Yeah.
So, oh, bless them. They tried.
Yeah.
They did try.
Yeah. Sean, what did you make of it? I know you've probably seen dribs and drabs of it across there, but we've kind of all had the same feelings around. I think the judge has done a great job, regardless of which way this goes. I think he's done an unbelievable job. But how have you looked at things, Sean, from what you've seen?
It's one of those things. Is like you don't, like you said, you don't know which way going to go.
Yeah.
It seemed that the CMA was going to go in favour, and then they decided that they'd collude with the FTC and
Yeah.
change things.
Yeah. Which has been proven as well. It's not just a case of we're saying they're colluded. It's like even the CMA have been in against Parliament to discuss what the crack is, and it came out that they've sent emails beyond the point that they said they had, and spoke to each other beyond the point that they said they shouldn't have done, because they withdrawn that request by Microsoft. So they have essentially colluded to come to an agreement between each other. So sorry, continue, Sean.
Yeah, so I'd like to believe that the injunction will be denied.
Yeah.
But like you said, you never know. You do never know. So it's interesting, but when you don't know the laws of everything in America, we can make these assumptions, but we don't know exactly what is required, what the standard is for them to prove, because it's not like a prove beyond reasonable doubt or anything like that, because it's not that kind of court. Yeah, it's interesting to see how things go and how businesses conduct themselves, especially with those emails and things like that. So it is a kind of a nice peek behind the curtain in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And especially when somebody isn't very good at hiding stuff or putting a marker through things, we get to see privileged things such as what is it? Last of Us 2 cost 220 million to make.
Yep.
So that kind of thing, and that's just kind of like, I can see in a way why Sony think that day and date is unsustainable, because if their maths say that they're not going to recoup that, then that's fair enough. But just because it's unsustainable for them doesn't mean to say it's unsustainable for everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing as well. Like, it's the only good thing that's come out of this and I think Boxy's accidentally refreshed or something like that, because he hasn't said be right back. So I hope he's realised he's accidentally closed it or something. Yeah,
Bit of a crash, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. The one good thing I liked about it was like I say, just the way the judge was, and even on Microsoft's front, because you pulled Microsoft on a couple of things as well. But I just liked how she was extremely impartial. She was pulling up the BS. She was pulling up a lot of the rubbish on both ends. They were tit for tatting and trying to talk about, like, God knows how many times they spoke about the Nintendo Switch, because they were talking about the Nintendo Switch loads. I just got a message from Boxy there. His camera's acting up. Okay, so he's restarting. So he'll be back shortly. But yeah, it's. I agree. Like I say, I love the way that it's the way the judges has handled it, dealt with it, and dealing with it. And either way, no matter which way this goes, I think they've had someone that's very much done things properly in the proceedings. This judge has definitely been on point. So regardless of what the decision is,
she's not completely clueless about everything, because she's the same judge that resided over the thingy court case as well.
Yes.
The what's it called?
Was it the Meta case?
No. It was the ones. It was the PlayStation fans.
The
that were
gamers
trying to
lawsuit.
sue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the gamers
And
lawsuit.
threw that out.
She's the same. Yeah, she's the same judge. So, which is why they weren't bothered about what's it called? There was one of the emails or something that was from like 2019. That's why it didn't go into thingy, because it was before they'd even bought Bethesda, or I can't remember what the email was about though. That could have even been the spending out of, whatever.
Yeah.
That could have been I can't remember which one it was anyway. But yeah, so she does have a clue to a certain extent.
Yeah. I just liked her approach. I like the way she done things. So I think either way, I don't think Microsoft can complain at this point. I think either way, the way that's went the other day, despite all of the silliness from the FTC during that, I think she was very impartial. She did her job correctly. She was very very methodical. She was very attentive, questioning everything to a fine tooth comb. She didn't know something, she got it explained to her, and she understood things very quickly. So if they're explaining what a certain service was, what a game was, what a time frame was, what this was, what that was, she was picking up on it immediately. She understood it pretty much straight away, and then she was being able to kind of implement that and fire it back when points that were previously made didn't make sense with points that were brought up in further discussions. So as I mentioned with the likes of the Gamepass scenario, and automatically she turned around and said, well, okay, will PlayStation have their own service? So surely this would require them to be more competitive then if Microsoft were doing this. So that surely they would need to improve their own service to compete, which would mean it would be pro-competitive for the consumer, which I don't think the FTC understood. But the fact that she understood that immediately and saw the benefits immediately of something like that, and again, likewise, when they were discussing this Nintendo Switch thing, being able to turn around and say, listen, like, I'm not bothered which gen it is, what it does and what it provides for the consumer is absolutely something that is competitive. It's a device that can be played in the home or mobile, and if in the grand scheme of things, that device is a better proposition to a lot of gamers, so it's absolutely in the discussion. So I think her approach to just the industry and as a whole, considering she isn't in the gaming industry and things like that, I think it was a very, very smart way of looking at just the overall debate that was happening in those discussions.
Yeah.
Very good. Jen, what about you? What's your overall thoughts on what kind of transpired and the studios that were listed in this huge, lengthy list of potentials?
I didn't catch all the stuff that went down at the whole court case or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Only a few like highlights that I just saw through social media and a few videos that I've watched. But it seems like she knows her stuff more than the FTC. It seems like she's more business savvy than most of the people doing the FTC side of the case.
Yeah.
Still tough to say. It could go either way still. You just never know with these things. But like when it comes to the documents about the studios, Sega would be a nice get. That would really make Vin's day. But I'm pretty sure there was another one there listed, a smaller one company, not a publisher. Crytek, if I'm correct.
Crytek was there, yeah.
That was listed.
Yeah.
Crytek. I am a huge fan of Hunt Showdown. As you know, I don't shut up about that game. I'd love Microsoft to get Crytek, put some funding their way, and maybe we get a sequel to Hunt Showdown at some point. That'd be greatly appreciated from me.
Pardon the pun, but Crytek have been crying out for some actual monetary investment and proper support for a long time.
They need some much needed love.
Yeah.
They don't get enough love as of recently. They seem to be like in a way forgotten by a lot of people.
Despite pushing the industry forward initially when Crysis came out and really pushing technology to its limits.
I know their engine has its issues, but without a doubt, you can't deny that ain't a pretty engine.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Hunt Showdown is one of the greatest looking games I've ever played, first person shooter wise.
Yeah.
And I just imagine what they could do with a bigger budget.
And again, everybody in the chat just automatically give me a Rise 2. Yeah, we all.
Yeah.
Nah, don't worry about Rise 2. Just give me Hunt Showdown 2. I'll be good.
Rise.
Rise. Yeah.
No, Hunt
Rise
Showdown
for
2.
sure.
No.
I'm also super excited for the new Crysis, honestly.
Yes.
Cannot wait.
Yeah. Because we do know Crysis is in production, so I'm see how good that's going to look. It's going to look fantastic. So, fingers crossed.
Oh, I love it. Especially recently with the new update to Hunt Showdown. There's a new boss in the game. There's a new event going on at the moment, which I've been playing myself a few hours here and there. They've added a few new things, like they've added dynamic weather to Hunt Showdown. What's sort of like dynamic weather.
Yeah.
And it looks fucking phenomenal. I can't wait till they remake that game in their new engine and give that a facelift.
The one studio that I was surprised was not in that list was Asobo. I'm so surprised that they hadn't considered Asobo.
Okay.
Even as a
I think
consideration.
with Asobo, they have such a close relationship with Asobo for many years over so many games, and I think if Asobo would want to get acquired, they would already have been acquired by Microsoft, but I don't think that they are willing to be bought, and so that could be a reason why they are not on this list.
Yeah. Unless they've just had these brief discussions. Unless they've had these brief discussions and internally anyway between them and kind of felt the ground, and what we have seen anyway is they've got this big 10-year relationship with Asobo on Flight Sim. So they're kind of working hand in hand on the technology around Flight Sim and the way Flight Sim works and evolves. So we know that they're doing that with them. But I think they are both content in the way that they're doing things, Asobo. But I think also Microsoft are just content with the way the relationship is. Although I am still surprised that they haven't considered them as an acquisition. Like even just to put them on the list and said Asobo, and these are the benefits. Like they've got an awesome proprietary engine that works really well, looks very pretty. They've got like the intense relationships we've got with Asobo are very strong, so it would be a seamless transition. There's many benefits to getting Asobo on board, but again, not everyone wants to be acquired.
I think personally, there was a few publishers on that list, and if this deal goes through, I think it's going to be a while before Microsoft even consider purchasing another publisher.
Yeah, I think it's going to be studios next.
Just because all this rigmarole, I can't even say that word properly. All this rigmarole that they've gone through with this whole Activision ABK deal, it's gone on for a while. It could still go on for even longer, for all we know. And I think Microsoft, it does go through, they're going to sit down and think, do we really want to go through this lengthy battle again this soon?
I think the only one that wouldn't have issues...
They'll go for smaller developers.
Yeah, I actually think if the only publisher that wouldn't really have regulatory issues would be Sega. I think it might do it in the Asian territory where they're kind of looking at it a little bit more in depth, but I don't think the UK, Europe, the US, I don't think they would have issues with that because it isn't, as much as we love to say Sonic, and Sonic's this big name, etc., financially doesn't impact anybody if that goes missing out of a singular place. It just doesn't. Like, Sonic Frontiers was a good game, but was it something that was going to financially impede the competition if it's not on their platform? No.
Well, they've also said that it was going to be multi-plat anyway. They're just going to let them run themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's kind of the way that they've done a few of them. Apart from, like, as they've mentioned, when Bethesda came on board, they just went, yeah, everything from Bethesda is now first party. Like, it's exclusive. Like, anything that was there is remaining there. Anything that is, like, multiplayer that's on every platform will remain on those platforms, like ESO or Fallout 76. And they'll continue to get new content. But any new title going forward, your Elder Scrolls, your Starfields, your Indiana Jones, all of that stuff, going forward is all exclusive. We've made this rule and it is exclusive. And even that's when Jim came out and said, listen, like, Starfield being exclusive isn't anti-competitive. And I think that was the one that people were just like, oh, what? He's like, yeah.
Well,
like,
we all know that they were trying to purchase the exclusivity on Starfield anyway, from some of those documents. So I don't think Jim was going to, say anything there because he gets slapped in the face with, well, you were trying to purchase Starfield as an exclusivity anyway, so keep your mouth shut.
There's a few things, though. There's a few things. But there's even more that came out of that FTC thing. A lot of good information and more about the future of consoles in general. What competitors are doing when certain consoles are coming out, when games are coming out, or what kind of games are coming out, the rough timescales of when games are coming out.
Mm-hmm. There's a the new Elder Scrolls is rumored to be 2026.
Bullshit.
Bullshit.
I'm pretty sure that came out of these documents as well.
no.
It
It did.
projected
It was
to
like-
be 2026.
No. There was like one lawyer from Microsoft that claimed that, but at the same time, Phil Spencer himself said that this year is definitely 5+ years out.
Yeah.
So don't expect it
Yeah.
before 2028. And seriously, if we think about it,
It would be nice. It just feels like
yeah, it's
I'm gonna
not
be
gonna
dead
happen
before the
in
new Elder
5
Scrolls.
years.
Yeah.
No. Yeah,
I'm going to be
it's
an
gonna
old
be
man
our
before the next
retirement
Elder
game. I mean, yeah, we will play it when we will retire. So at the very end, but I feel Starfield, Elder Scrolls 5+ would be very ambitious.
Yeah.
They're gonna do great things. Todd Howard already mentioned that it's probably going to be his last Elder Scrolls game, simply for the fact that after Elder Scrolls they're gonna do a new Fallout, and then after that they're gonna do a new Starfield, and so we're talking at least like 15 to 20 years apart in between this and the
Todd will
next
be in his
Elder
70s
Scrolls.
by
and-
that point.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, in his 80s,
Oh, dear
probably.
God.
Like, how old is Todd? I think he's around 16 now.
Is he?
So,
Todd's not 60,
Yeah.
surely.
No way.
hang on, hang on.
No way he's 60.
50s, maybe. He's not 60.
He's 53.
Whew. Yeah, so he'll be in his like 70s by the time not Elder Scrolls, but by the time the Elder Scrolls 7 comes out or something like that, it'd be like 70s.
Yeah. So, it's like Elder Scrolls, I feel, is probably going to be 2 or 3 years into the next gen.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we're talking here around 2030 or something.
Yeah.
Oh, don't crush my dreams like that.
Oh dear me.
I mean,
I'm a crow crying now.
you never know. You never know. We know that the game has been in pre-development since 2018.
Mhm.
So it really depends on how far along are they 5 years into pre-development and prototyping everything.
Yeah.
Because building those games out, Todd explained that a while ago, it isn't really the big part of the development time. He said, like, it takes them 1 to 2 years to actually fully build out a game after it comes out of pre-production. So it really depends on how far this is along. But 5 years in this day and age where games just take significantly longer, and then you have the extra delay because it's Xbox, and with all that, you're looking at 5+ years minimum.
Yeah. Yeah. Pat,
Yeah.
there's been a few little leaks, little teeny weeny leaks, including the PlayStation 6 PlayStation 5 Slim, which they mentioned there that they expect to come at some point later this year, and
It needs to. That thing is an eyesore. I've got that hidden behind my monitor. I don't like looking at it.
the PS5 Slim first of all, and as well as the new Nintendo. But they also have a rough understanding, and this was from Bobby Kotick. He said what the power of the new Nintendo is going to be. Now, question to you, and I'll kind of explain this first, of course, for everybody in chat. You mentioned the rough power of the new Nintendo is going to be probably in line with that of the Gen 8 consoles, which he was referring to as the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. Now, in your opinion, do you think that is a realistic, viable strategy for Nintendo to come out and have a console that is already still, again, miles out of date? Do you think that's going to benefit them at all, or do you think it's going to cause some more issues going forwards?
Well, I think nowadays with the older gen, I think Nintendo just should be making a step forward in it and just try to see if they can, keep up with the Xbox, with the PlayStation, how this gen is running right now. Because if you're like behind with kind of stuff, I don't know if it's gonna like benefit probably for them it's like a big step forward, of course. But yeah, I think it's better for them if they just try to like keep up with the current gen.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
I think
because
that
with
the
every
Yeah.
the game systems, everything, it updates every like week, month, maybe a year.
Yeah,
And
you have to keep up.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And Nintendo really doesn't.
Yeah.
How many
they
years was
don't.
the original Nintendo Switch behind in the technology department
7.
when it
I
came
would
out?
say
Well, about 3 when
around
it came
5
out.
years.
3 to 5
3
years.
5 to 5 years. Yeah. Some like.
So
See,
on
the thing
par with
is,
that, really. Then
the thing is, you always have to think about Nintendo. What are they trying to do with their console? They are not trying to compete in the graphics segment or
I think
anything.
so,
They don't
Boxy,
need to.
the one thing
They
that
don't
they've
need to.
got, the one thing that they've got to be aware of right now, though, is that when you're looking at the handheld competition, is they've got both Steam with a Steam Deck and
Yep.
your Ally, which are in the
Yeah,
ballpark
absolutely.
of like between 350 to 600, depending on the power. Of course, the Steam Deck goes from 350 for the low end one, and even by low end we mean it's got a much smaller kind of storage size on it. But even then, the quality difference and the power difference that has in comparison to the Nintendo
I agree.
Switch for the price, when you're talking about a 350 console and the Switch doesn't have much memory anyway, it's got like 520 gig or something less.
Yeah.
And then it has, of course, cartridges which you can plug in, and it doesn't take up any size. It's like a gig or something at most to put the cartridge in and save the basic storage and stuff like that. Nintendo have got a real issue here going forward. If you're going to be releasing an out-of-date console, you now have a problem where someone's going to look at the likes of a Steam Deck.
They don't.
And that's what I'm saying, though. But you look at the likes of a Steam Deck, which is retailing for $350, which has got enough power to run PC games at very high quality, and in some certain circumstances with ray tracing, for $350 or $370 or whatever it is. And then you look at the Nintendo console, which will likely release at that $350 mark.
I do understand what you're saying there. That the thing is, Nintendo always wants to make money off of their consoles. Like Xbox, PlayStation, they take sometimes even a loss when they sell their consoles, whilst Nintendo does not. So we're really looking at something where they have to make money off. I think it's probably 400, gonna be 400.
The thing with this though, Boxing, we all have to agree at this point, because I think we know when you're selling hardware that is that far out of date, you are making a substantial profit on that machine.
Yeah,
substantial.
It is.
They were the only company that were making a profit.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That when they release their console, it's gonna be outdated so they can make money off of it. And the other thing really is they do not compete with an ROG Ally or Steam Deck. They just don't. Nintendo consoles get bought because of their strong, IPs. That's their system sellers, the Zeldas, the Marios, and so on, the Pokemons. Those are their system sellers.
Yeah.
And people will buy them simply because they know the brand. And so what I expect them is like, yes, it's going to be outdated, but it also will like benefit from a couple of things. And one being that they use the NVIDIA chip.
Yeah.
And with that, they get like things like DLSS now in their console. And so they will be able to compete on this. Like,
has that been confirmed? It's NVIDIA.
No, it has not. No.
Oh,
yeah. NVIDIA. Yeah, they've always. Well, why would it change? It's like we would absolutely assume that the next Xbox and PlayStation will have an AMD chip in there.
Yeah.
There's zero reason to believe not to. So it's not confirmed, but like an open secret. So yeah, what do I expect from the hardware? I don't think it will compete on the CPU front or the GPU front. It will strongly benefit from things like DLSS.
Do you think, and this is the only benefit I would give that console, do you think, as he referenced Gen 8, and this is one for Pat as well, would that reference Gen 8 as in Gen 8's mid-gen refreshes, i.e. the One X and the PS4 Pro, which would be a significant bump? So that would put it in line roughly kind of just as like under Series S kind of area in terms of like the what you would class as teraflops. But it would be a bump of like 3 to 4, which would be more than enough.
On the GPU front, I would assume so. I would also maybe assume that they are in that ballpark when it comes to memory, so RAM here, but I don't think that they will have the same CPU. The CPU in the Series S is a beast. It's more or less the same like in the Series X. It's like no way they can get that cooling into such a handheld at that price point. Again, we have to always consider. So I expect GPU similar. Benefit is definitely the DLSS support, and then a much weaker CPU. That's what actually I'm thinking here.
Yeah, it's obviously going to have its holdbacks. Pat, would you consider getting a more powerful Switch? I know. Does Tomorrow have one for Animal Crossing or anything like that?
We have a Switch at home.
Yeah, no, you play Mario Party and things, don't you? I know you do.
Yeah. Exactly.
There you go. Kind of... You don't need the power for that, right?
No, but like before you're gonna ask the question, I think that Nintendo is also more focused on the like the younger audience, and like family. It's more like a family console because like has Series X, PlayStation, they are getting used for like competitive also.
Yeah.
So, and I don't see any Nintendo going that way. That it's gonna be like a competitive kind of thing that people, like really they need to have the best graphics or the best latency or FPS and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think like a lot of people also are saying in the chat, like Spider-Man, he says they don't care about this, they're more focused on the smaller audience because, for example, Mario or Animal Crossing and that kind of stuff.
Splatoon, yeah.
So I think my guess is that they're not going to update the whole console thing, and they just need to stick with this how it is. And
I think it's just from I always look at it from the developer's standpoint as opposed to the consumer. I think the developers deserve something with a bit more power now to show really what they can do.
Yeah.
As opposed to the consumer, I think if you have a look at what Pokemon was trying to be and how the technology really held that back, like significantly held it back. Like they had constant like Pokemon just popping out of nowhere and loads of random. It was an always online game where things were always populating everywhere, and there was significant issues with it.
As much as I loved it, there was a lot of issues with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, we loved it. God knows how many hours. I think we've got 80 plus hours, maybe 100 hours in that game.
I think I've got over 100 hours. I still need to go back and 100% the Pokedex.
Yep, same.
But I'm probably going to do that when the DLC comes
drops.
to it.
Yeah. But extra power to make that game A, stop with the pop in, B, stop with the lag in, stop with the horrific frame rate issues and the stuttering it had. There was so many things that could have been better for that if the company had more to work with. But like you're talking about working with what was essentially like a Galaxy S10 in power. Like it was so far out of date. It might not even be that powerful, to be fair. Like to create a big AAA game is just insane on that level of power. And the fact that they've managed to get Zelda working the way they have with that limited power is just fascinating. It's fascinating. Like it's absolute wizardry to manage to get something like that running. I just want not for consumers, but for the developers for them to have a chance of working with something that has a bit more beef, so we can see what they can do. Because I think if
Yeah,
we as
of course,
developers
of
were
course.
let loose with some power, if you think how good their games are now, their games could be absolutely insane with a little bit more like actual power behind them to be able to do more things. Like Zelda would just be absolutely next level. Like if you think Zelda's good now,
Oh yeah.
God, having like even the Series S power behind it would be insane for what they would be able to do with that game. Same for
Yeah.
Pokemon, but I agree.
Yeah,
the likes of
true.
Mario
Yeah.
Kart won't need it. It's a
No,
kart
no,
racer.
of course. For the games that they make right now, for example, Zelda,
Yeah.
the game looks really good. But of course, if they really gonna upgrade the console and stuff, and it's gonna help them to make the game look better, then they should do it. But I don't see it happen.
Yeah.
I don't
Nope.
really see it happen.
No, I don't. I agree. I think the level of tech will be always quite a bit lower.
Yeah.
It'll be
it's-
it'll be around a decent mobile phone level. I think forever for Nintendo because I just don't think they even want to
Since
try.
the days of the GameCube, Nintendo have kind of always been behind in the technology department. And that's mainly because they just don't care about having luxury technology.
Yeah.
They know their stuff's going to sell like hotcakes.
Yeah.
You
And-
know
and-
it's going to be super hard holiday season to get the next Switch.
I mean, my daughter plays Roblox, and I watch her playing Roblox and think, how can you play this? It's just like the frame rate just drops. She plays it on a tablet as well, so she's playing it on a tablet. The frame rate's 30 at best, most of the time. She doesn't care. She's not
No,
bothered.
exactly. And
Yeah,
that's
I
what
mean-
said,
She's
Yeah,
they-
these games are aimed for kids, anyways.
Yeah, they don't bother, and the mass majority of people that are buying Switches, I know there's plenty of adults out there that buy them. I understand that, but a bit like we are the hardcore Xboxers that buy all the Series X and all of the good stuff because we want the 4K, we want the 120 frames, whatever.
Yeah.
We are vastly in the minority to the
Oh, yeah.
people who buy a Series S because they just want to play Fortnite.
Oh yeah.
So same thing with the Switch.
Mm.
Kids, and
Yeah,
and teens that just want something to play.
Yeah.
Fortnite was a good
A
example.
parent going into a store to buy a console for their kids isn't worried about their kid having flushy Xbox Series X or a supercomputer that can play games. They just want something entry level they can play Fortnite, Roblox, or Minecraft on because that's what most of the kids are playing these days.
The funny thing is with
And-
the Switch is the Switch started off with just a singular model, and everybody was complaining about how the Series S and the X was going to confuse people, and that was only one PlayStation, and then the Switch ended up with 3 models, and now we've got the Slim, the Switch, and the Switch OLED. So
I mean, do we even need to go into the Game Boy versions?
yeah. Oh god, yeah. The 3DS, the
Come on.
3DXL, the 3DS XL.
Oh, yeah.
The
The
advanced
2D,
Game Boy
yes,
Color, Game Boy
yeah.
Advance, Game Boy Advance SP,
So
Nintendo DS, the smaller Nintendo DS, and the 3DS, and
Yeah.
the smaller 3DS. Then the 3DS that was just you couldn't close it. That was fucking ugly. What were they thinking with that?
Yeah, the 2DS.
That's
yeah.
the one. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
fucking ugly.
What point was that? But the Switch is the same, isn't it? You've got your regular one, you've got the light, you've got the the big leather, the XL one, and it's just the people that say that they're just talking nonsense.
Mm.
We're all used to having the late, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultras and iPhone 16 Pro Max, whatever. These are just random. Nobody cares. You just walk into a shop and you're like, I believe there's a new version of the phone I've got out and I'm due an upgrade. Give me that one.
Exactly. Look at fucking people that obsess
Oh, yeah.
over Apple devices that get the next Apple phone the minute it comes out,
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
and they do that every year.
Who cares? You know what I mean? It's nobody cares, and the people that do care are just talking nonsense for the sake of talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I'd love a Switch to be on par with a Series X, it's never going to happen. And it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
I don't think it's ever going to be on par with Series X, but I would be semi-happy if, and they mentioned it was Gen 8, if they are more on par with what we got in latter stages of Gen 8, like the One X and the PS4 Pro.
Most likely will. It'll be the
If
One
it's-
X or the PS.
If it's only
Pro.
like the beginning one and the PS4, then oh dear God.
if it's anything more than sort of 3-4 years out of date tech, then what's the fucking point?
Yeah,
there is that. I mean, the thing that we've said before, Dutch, was that they do such a great job though of just coping with what they've got.
Yeah,
you know, so like you said, the Tears of the Kingdom looks great and plays well, and the mechanics on it I think are quite astounding considering the memory that's in it. You know, really the building in that game is fantastic, and the amount of memory that must take to remember all that, and you know, it must be quite well programmed. I don't know what they use, but it's brilliant. Another game that looks great on the Xbox, it's another one, is Ori. I've been playing that
Ori
on
looks
the
fantastic.
Switch. And on this, it looks fantastic. It looks as good as it does on the Xbox. It looks beautiful.
That's
But,
because it's a
you're
beautiful
only dealing
little
with a
OLED
small screen.
Yeah,
it's a little OLED screen, which obviously helps. I mean, you do see the difference when you go back to the old one.
Yeah,
but it's still a fantastic, beautifully run. It runs smooth as the Xbox, but just in a little handheld form factor.
Yeah,
Still another reason why I think Xbox, and judging by what they've said in this court case and the fact that they're saying that the cloud isn't as popular as I think they thought it was going to be, they're starting to lean more towards Boxy's, ally, I think.
Yeah.
And that's, maybe we will now. Maybe they've seen the light and realized people don't want cloud.
Well, I think
that's the thing. The ally costs $800.
Yeah, it's a convenience thing, cloud. It's great for when you just need to jump online and do something quickly.
And I think
It's
that's
not
the way
something you
Microsoft
wanna
kind
do
of look at it, though.
always.
I think that's the way that they do look at it. I think it's a look of, it provides an option. Like, cloud is there.
They're now looking at the rogue ally and going, these guys are doing quite well. If we, maybe we could do this.
But
So
they
fingers
also see
crossed.
how the benefit of cloud comes in, and they stressed that as well.
Yes.
They mentioned,
Yeah.
Listen, the main usage we see, which benefits gamers, is the ability to jump on a game on the Xbox, try it on the cloud. If they want to download it, then they can download it.
I'd argue that isn't the reason that people use it. I think the reason a lot of people use it is when they want to get their points.
Yep.
And they just log in to get the points.
Play a game on
the
Game
thing.
Pass. I ain't downloading that.
To be fair,
I just load it and then I close it.
Play 10 minutes of Elder Scrolls Online. You're like, click.
I've used
stream
cloud
that for
when
10 minutes.
I don't want to download
to be
and
fair,
take
that
up
is-
space.
That is about the only length of time for Elder Scrolls Online that I can stomach.
Well, they've done one for an hour before now. Just left it running, walked away.
Some very interesting news today, though, ladies, gents, was around Gamescom, which would be very interesting. Very interesting news, and I definitely want to discuss this because I want to see.
I know a few people that are going Gamescom this year.
Oh, who could that be?
Oh, I don't know who you're talking about.
No idea. No idea.
No.
But Gamescom announced that Xbox Bethesda will be both on the showroom floor and be attending Gamescom in full this year. But then on the back end of that, which I found more intriguing, of course, we knew Aaron was going to go because I've already spoke to Aaron previously, and we're going to meet up and have a beer and something to eat.
Nice.
So aside from Aaron going, which is kind of hand in hand with the marketing side of things for Xbox, Phil Spencer's mentioned that he's also returning to Gamescom for the first time in a long time. Now, why would Phil be attending if there was nothing to show? Because Phil doesn't attend events for the sake of attending events. He only goes when they show something.
Quite a busy man, isn't he, usually?
Yes.
This is the opportunity to ask Phil to show up to the next Indie Showcase, Dutch.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm going to tap him up.
Get him to sign under oath that he's coming.
I'll just do a pre-recording at Gamescom. Phil, can you just do an introduction to...
That's not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting because, of course, as people in chat know, we myself, Mick, Boxenberger, Erwin, and Gaz
Yes.
are going as well.
Yeah.
Gonna be mad with Gas.
Yes,
It's
going
gonna
to be
get
very mad with Gaz.
it's gonna get messy with Gaz there.
Yeah, going to be very messy. But yeah, if Xbox are attending in that way, and we know that previously, of course, following the previous show, they had an interview saying, "Listen, don't be upset if you haven't seen everything that you wanted to see in this show because we've got other shows later this year, like Gamescom, like TGS, like the Game Awards, like another potential show. Then obviously we've still got more to show." Is this a case of they essentially saying, yeah, we're going to be there in force. We're going to have a full showroom presence. We're going to if Bethesda's there, Starfield will be there. Which means
No doubt.
potentially
I mean, the
see
Starfield comes out like 2 weeks after, or 1 week after Gamescom, right?
Yeah.
So of course it's gonna be there.
So that
Yeah,
means
of
we
course.
get
Probably
to
you
play
can
it
play as
before.
well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm looking forward
Have
to.
some
Looking forward to
boots
seeing
there,
that
you-
before it actually releases in person.
No.
That's if we haven't had the fortunate thing, because I think everybody's tried to apply. Not that we'll get it.
Yeah.
The review.
Nope. It's not gonna happen.
No, I don't think so. I think we'd probably already have the key if it was already coming out.
I think
Yeah, you
Jet-
need
You
like
need to
3
get
months
that
of
now to be able to
time.
complete it.
yeah, I think Jess Gordon was saying he's still hoping that it's going to come in sort of early August. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think it's out yet, but I don't think we'll get it anyway.
No.
Jez
A
will,
man can
but
dream.
not us.
Yeah, a man
Yeah.
can dream. But Pat, with the news that
Yeah.
Xbox will be attending Gamescom this year with Bethesda, is there anything that was missing from this year's showcase that you'd love to see appear at Gamescom?
Oh my god.
Now, we've recently had the unveiling, or should we say, the release of Indiana Jones as
Oh yeah.
the film has just
Yeah.
released. Of course, we
Maybe,
haven't seen
yeah.
Perfect Dark. We haven't seen a number of things that a lot of these studios are working on. So, what would you like to see ideally?
Jeez, man.
And of
That's a
course, I
hard
know one
question
thing that
because
you'll probably see at Gamescom is a new Call of Duty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because
They're gonna bring out new
that
Call
one
of
by
Duty this
accident.
year.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. That should be any time now. Really, a trailer for that will
Well-
drop any week now, pretty much.
Yeah, that's a good one actually.
What time do they? What sort of time of the year do they normally announce Call of
It's
Duty? games?
usually around that sort of window where sort of Gamescom is, either before or after.
Like November or something.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they don't do it around E3. I knew that much. But,
Yeah.
No.
yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I think like, will they show or will they have something from Indiana Jones? That's a good question though, because that's a game that a lot of people are waiting for actually, or they want to see something.
Yeah.
We got
I
the
have a
small
theory.
teaser, but
Yeah.
I have a theory that because we found out that they reorganized or they changed the deal with Disney to make it exclusive.
Yeah.
Now they're not working on a PlayStation version, which they must have been at the first
Yeah.
in some sort of capacity. I think now they're going to move all teams onto the Xbox version. It'll probably put it back a bit, but improve it at
Yeah.
the same time.
But also
We're
speed it
still
up. They
a bit-
mentioned
I
that
think
with
we're still a bit
Starfield.
off on that one.
They mentioned that with Starfield, though. They said, listen, if Starfield was still on the PlayStation, it wouldn't be coming out in 9 weeks. So, it wouldn't.
Yep.
It'll be way out. So,
And it wouldn't be as in depth either because
Nope.
they've added a lot more stuff since then. So.
Yeah.
but
I would
You're-
like to
you're
be the
suffering-
guy.
You're suffering, PlayStation fans, is our gain, I'm afraid. Thank you for that.
That's all right. They've got YouTube.
Cheers for that. You've got Twitter and YouTube. They're good. Go complete
the
that.
sauce. The sauce.
Hmm.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I don't think we
Sorry,
see
Gaz.
Indiana
Gaz
Jones.
came over me there.
Do you know?
It will be interesting whether what's Xbox doing actually there, because they haven't announced the showcase. And they haven't even announced that they're gonna be part of the opening night live. I would assume that at least the trailer for Starfield is on that stage. But what are they doing? What are they doing besides being on the show floor? I expect a fan fest happening, and that's probably going to be announced soon then. But in terms of, like, they don't have a show. Yeah, so what could they announce there when they don't have a show? What I would love them to do is actually do another developer direct, because they have 2 big games coming. They have Starfield coming. Obviously, they're not going to do a developer direct for that, but they have Forza coming in October. Yeah, I know people don't talk about it, but it's still happening.
I'm looking forward to it.
And yeah, and so
Tokyo Game
would
Show
love
also
them to
announced
do-
that Xbox are part of Tokyo Game Show this year, so no, they're
Yes.
definitely part of that.
Yeah. So yeah, we kind of, it's not gonna be like an E3 kind of event where they have like their showcase and they're gonna do a full blowout. But Phil being there, Dutch, I definitely give you that. It's a statement if Phil comes there, and so I expect them to maybe have a developer direct, or that they have like a bigger presence on the opening night live stage. So
Yeah, I think they'll have a bigger presence on opening night live. I think they'll have a few things shown off there. I don't think they'll have loads, but I think they'll have maybe 2 or 3 things there for opening night live. But I think there's going to be quite a few things that are getting shown off there, to be fair. I don't think Sony are done, but I don't think they've got enough to show to put into a conference. I don't think Sony.
Don't think so.
I think
either.
they've got.
I
I
mean,
think they've
Yeah,
got like
they're
maybe
gonna show
1 or
off
2 things.
What
but
would
I
they
think
do?
they've got-
Spider-Man.
Like if they are on the show floor, what would they show? They could do a Spider-Man thing, but that's about it, right? There's really not much else to show on the Sony side of things.
Yeah,
so-
for Sony, it could just be the like a titles or splash screen announcement of one of the studio's next projects. Like we know, or potentially even Death Stranding 2 kind of gameplay. We know that's been in production for quite a while now. It could be something along those lines, and of course we know DS is their title. It's their IP.
Yeah. Then we also have to think about it's Europe based.
Yeah.
So focus of Gamescom is centered around gaming in Europe.
Yeah.
So when you think about Sony and when you think about Xbox and even Nintendo being there, you kind of have to think, okay, what could they do? And there's still this game called Stalker 2, man.
Yeah.
We haven't heard much about it for good reasons, no doubt. But it looks like the developer's still prepping for a 23 launch. So them being obviously Ukrainian based, I could see them make an appearance. And obviously it's going to be an Xbox exclusive, at least timed exclusive. So there's maybe some push around Stalker 2 here. I could definitely see that.
I feel like if Stalker 2 is still coming, it could be one of those announcements
Like a
that it's
last
like
minute.
it's out next month.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because obviously the current situation that they're going through, they're probably not in a position to give a lengthy release date saying it's coming, I don't know, 6 months down the line, or
Yeah.
it's going to be out holiday season. I
Basically,
feel
it's
like
done when it's done.
the current position they're in with everything that's going on in that side of the world, it could be something like a trailer and then them go, it's out 2, 3 or 4 weeks time, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's possible.
Definitely. Sean, what do you think we might see at Gamescom then?
I'm hoping to see something from State of Decay.
Yes. Yeah, I'd love to see
That's
what that looks like now. Like, State of Decay 2 was fantastic, and the work that company's done on getting it from where it launched to where it is now is just insane. Like, the complete revamp of State of Decay 2 from its launch position, which I don't know whether or not it was you, Shom, or somebody else, where I tried to play co-op with them, and it was the worst.
No, I don't know. I remember trying to play with my brother, and it was just so laggy.
Like, you just start to get killed by invisible zombies. You're like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is going on?
Didn't we play State of Decay 2 on one of the charity streams?
No, we tried.
I'm pretty sure it was yeah.
We tried, but it didn't.
Yeah, there was some issues still.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. There's a couple of issues, but as it's improved compared to what it was, I'd absolutely love to see what that team, Undead Labs, can do with some actual backing and some more time and some more help. And we know that the Coalition have worked with them as well on Unreal Engine, and the kind of mechanics of the game and things like that. So we know that's kind of helped them and assisted them to improve. And what we know from what Phil and Matt Booty have said as well is, like, the teams have been quite hands-on with a lot of them. Now, Redfall was the exception because they didn't get hands-on with the developer. They didn't give them the support that they have done with Starfield, and we've seen what's happened to Starfield in the last year and how much of a difference that's made with the hands-on support from Microsoft. So giving that hands-on support to Undead Labs for State Decay, I'd love to see what that can be with a full-fledged AAA survival zombie game going forwards. I think that's going to be insane. Is that kind of one of your most anticipated then, Sean?
Yeah, I think so. Just because, like I said, with a bigger budget, I thought what they had with number 2 had potential, but it was hampered by lack of budget and whatnot. So being able to see what they can do with backing, and hopefully it's something that Microsoft's kind of gone, we should probably help them with this, rather than a Redfall job where it's just like, we'll see what they can do.
Yeah.
Which I don't think it is, because they've increased the what you call it, the studio numbers.
Yes, yeah, the head count.
Yeah.
I would say that after what happened with Redfall, as much as that was not great for Redfall, it's going to be a bonus to every other game.
Yeah,
because they've got to, if there isn't, then there's something wrong. Because after what happened with Redfall and them admitting we should have just stepped in and helped more, if they leave other teams to do the same thing, somebody's head needs to roll.
I think going forward for Arcane, it'll be a good thing as well. I think for going forward for Arcane, I think this is one of the blots that they're going to have to forget, learn from, and going forward, I think it's going to be a different story. I think we'll go on.
Sorry, go on. I was just going to say, and also the at least the Redfall team have got the security of knowing that Microsoft is there backing Obsidian and everyone else.
Yeah.
Unlike the Gollum team.
Yeah.
Who got canned.
Yeah.
Like the other week.
Oh yeah, they came out and said they're never making another game again.
Yeah. That's it. Game over for them. So
It's also Boken people where they were told they're not making another game again.
Yes.
At least they had their own decision.
Yeah.
They were probably like,
just closed
perhaps
the
we
doors.
shouldn't be making games.
Whereas Forspoken Studio got completely dissolved and just distributed it throughout the other studios. They were like, you just don't exist anymore.
Yeah, that's another one.
The Dailic just went, that's it. That's us. Done. See ya.
Yeah, they're going to be taking a publisher position only now.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but you can't release games like that. You can't. The state that game.
That was probably the biggest disaster of the year, and I thought Redfall was bad.
But the thing is, though, is going into it for Gollum, everybody, even to the lead up, was thinking, why? Of all the people, of all the characters you could have chose, why Gollum? Like, why?
I was looking at it as because I thought, well, maybe it'll be. I wasn't keen on the art style, but I just thought, well, maybe it's this kind of sort of early Assassin's Creed style stealth. You know, you've got to stay around. Or Splinter Cell, you've got to stay covered. You get into combat, you're dead. You know, you can't compete. So I was thinking, if it's a stealth game, I might be able to enjoy it. So I was interested to see what happened. I still didn't like the way he looked. Don't think anybody did. But I was willing to sort of wait until it was on a sale and try it. I might still do that.
Even Gollum, like in the Shadow of War game, looked even looks better than that Gollum now. This is Wish.com Gollum in comparison to that. We've got Gollum at home Gollum. When you ask your mum if you can get Shadow of War, we've got Gollum at home.
It looks like one of those you always used to get. You'd get like the full anime, or you get the full film version of something, and then they'd make like a kids' TV spin-off of it, and it'd be like totally different. The character was a completely different voice, and it was a totally different character, but just with the same name. It was like that. It was just like, if you remember like Star Wars droids from the cartoon. It was
There's
just
Gollum, and then there's Gollum on crack, and that was what that game was.
It was like Gollum on
I think it just broke Mick.
It was. Bless him.
Yeah, mate. But yeah, and I don't know whether or not anybody's looking at Twitter or anything like that. Has anybody seen any updates on what potentially the decision has been? Or?
No, I haven't seen anything yet. I have been keeping an eye on it because it could happen any time.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen, I would say I would have said by now. Actually, if it hasn't happened by now, I think it will probably be tomorrow.
But I think today was what they classed as sealed decision. So the parties were informed of decisions today, but I don't know whether or not that's a public thing until a couple of days.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
either.
We'd get a notification it had been done. I think it will be the first thing we'll find out is when the public version has been published.
Yeah. You'll know when that happens because Twitter will be having a meltdown because we all know Twitter's gone down the shitter anyway, and any one person tweeting nowadays breaks Twitter.
Oh, Elon.
But yeah, it's in terms of the PI, I think it's like it's sealed decision initially. So I don't think we'll hear even us, like the companies will know today. So I think Xbox, PlayStation, or FTC, all them guys will know what the sealed decision is later on today, if not later on this evening. But publicly, I don't know whether or not we'll get that news for a couple of days yet. We'll see. But yeah, be interesting to see how that plays out. Like I say, either way for me, the way this went on, and it was interesting to see kind of what was coming out of it, more so than the actual decision itself. It was more finding out all the leaks and all the how much games are costing Sony to make, and how long it's taking them to make games, and
yeah, it's all the side info that is really the interesting part.
Yeah. But aside from that, I think the judge did a really great job. I don't think there was any issues on that front. I don't have any problems with the way the judge kind of did everything. So if it gets granted, then I think, okay, then there's obviously something that's intrigued to a point where she thinks it requires it. But I think she did enough due diligence and asked enough questions to make that decision thoroughly. I don't think there's anything that we can complain about on the back end of that, to be fair, whatever the decision is. We can think, and based on what we heard, I don't think it would be granted, but stranger things have happened, as we know.
True that.
Yeah.
So we'll wait and see. But
we're all forgetting the biggest news of the day, though.
Go on.
GTA 5 in Game Pass, because we did that again.
A game that nobody needed because everybody on the
we've already played it.
Owns it.
I wouldn't care. I've seen someone post on Twitter before, and I forgot who it is now, and they said, I'm probably one of the very few people that have actually played GTA, so I'll probably give it a go. I was like, wow.
What? There are still people out there that have played it. Interesting.
I don't know. That thing's on everything.
They probably live under a rock or something.
Well, to be fair, though, if you were like us, you've probably bought it on every gen. So I've got a copy on I've got a copy on 360. I got a copy on Xbox One. I got a copy on PC. I didn't get the upgraded one for the Series X. No chance was I buying it again. I finished that game ages ago and I don't play the game anymore. Like even the online section.
Is this version the upgraded version, or is this just the standard?
No, it's the upgraded version.
It's
Oh,
the
I might
upgraded
turn it on and
version.
try it just to have a look, but that's it.
It's the upgraded version.
I'm good. I'm good.
Mick, just free up like 400 gig. You should be good.
I'll just cloud stream it.
Every time someone plays GTA 5 again, it delays GTA 6 by a year.
Yeah.
Oh
do
yeah,
it next-
definitely.
Dear me. I think they probably just put it in Game Pass to kind of bide themselves more time for GTA 6. Like, here we go, just pass the time. It's a Game Pass edition. There you go.
I mean, is GTA 6 even coming out?
That
at
thing
some
is a
point.
myth.
Yeah.
Until
Yeah,
I
I
see
think
it,
it's a
and it's
myth.
actually on a store. It's a myth.
Yeah. And the leak we got a year ago, it's all fake.
I think that's just early testing. To be fair, I don't think it's.
Oh yeah.
Because
I was kidding.
we know that because of course the guy that leaked it got arrested. He's from the UK, wasn't
Oh
he?
yeah. I was kidding. But
Yeah.
I think the GTA 6 leak, it was the biggest leak in gaming history.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
there
and
anything bigger than that?
Rockstar do not mess around. Like, that was in the news the next day and everything. Like, they were like, yes, a
yeah.
young, I think he was like a 16, 17-year-old kid in the UK
Oh,
somewhere.
yeah, 17 years old.
Yeah.
That is one company will not let you get away with
No.
leaking stuff.
No, that and Nintendo. Nintendo will hunt you down.
Nintendo don't even let you stream their games, let alone leak it.
Nah, you've got to be careful that you mute that shit if you're gonna stream it. Yeah, I'm super careful. Like, it's anything like that. You can't put the shows on or anything. You can't stream the live events because they just hit you immediately. You're like, this is free advertisement. You weird people.
It's not Nintendo America. Nintendo America don't care.
Yeah,
It's Nintendo
actual
Japan
Nintendo,
because
yeah.
they're all old farts.
Yeah, it's just absolutely wild. It's absolutely wild. But yeah, it's been an interesting time. We are going into the quieter moments now over the next few weeks before we get to Gamescom, where there's not going to be too much happening. We're going to be a lot of this FTC news again when that decision comes out, so we're going to have to grin and bear that. But in terms of game news, it's going to be relatively quiet until that Gamescom period again. We've kind of seen everything that we need to see up until this point. We've had the game announcements. So it's about learning more about these games potentially and seeing what else gets announced beforehand and how everything does. But yeah, it's been a relatively quiet time, but it's been it's still we've had a little break last week, so we had a chance to catch up with everything today with how things are going. One of the last ones I want to kind of briefly touch on here before we kind of wrap the show up today in a relatively shorter show was obviously the PS5 Slim that Microsoft are expecting to release kind of the tail end of this year. But also the kind of a news that there might not be a mid-gen refresh for the Xbox. They might just be concentrating on the next Xbox. What do we make of that? Box, you want to go to you first. What do you make of those kind of two bits of info? The PS5 Slim potentially releasing soonish.
Yeah.
And then the Xbox.
So
news.
I don't think it's gonna happen. That they don't release one. Yeah, that's what I mean. Not gonna happen. Seriously, if we think about this, why would Xbox has to assume that Sony is gonna release one, and vice versa? And so, losing like the power narrative to Sony. I mean they already kind of did to some degree, with a lot of games performing sometimes even better on PlayStation. They kind of already did, but not gonna happen. They are prepared, man. They are definitely prepared with all the rumors out there. They know it's coming. They had obviously had one in the making, and at some point, of course, they have to pull the decision to go through to bring it into a full product. And no, absolutely, there's going to be one. Whether it's like the same year as the PS5 Pro or like we had last gen, that they are 1 year apart, that could definitely be a thing. But I have absolutely zero doubt that it's gonna happen. So
yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'm expecting the PS5 Slim to be fair at some point. Whether or not it's just a Slim, if they don't increase the power in it, then I don't see it as like, what's the point? Like I know people want a slimmer product, but really, what's the point in that? Like, what you're gonna make it smaller? Okay, great. Does it give it any other benefit than the fact that it's smaller? Like, if it's PS5 Slim plus it's also got additional power benefits, so it's a more powerful, more capable console, then there's a reason to pick it up. If there isn't, then what's the point? Like, I don't see a point in just releasing a slim version of a console at this stage in the gen. If you're gonna do another revision, do an actual proper revision, like an actual like we had with the Pro and the One X. Do an actual revision that gives a benefit other than being slimline. I know that's what they used to do. I know we used to have the 360 Slim and the PS4 Slim and the PS3 Slim and all that stuff. But really, like, there is no additional benefit to it these days. Like, if you're gonna release one, then do it. And I just think Xbox, unless they're just not close to releasing theirs, and theirs is still a little bit of time out, and they just don't want to kind of talk about it yet. But I think if they do, it'll be probably another year and a half, 2 years away until they release theirs. And we know the gen's got a good 6 years left on it. So, yeah, that's what I think anyway. Pat, what do you think? What do you think we're going to see a new revised Xbox as well?
No.
No.
No, I don't think so. No, because with the Series X and S now, I think Xbox is pretty solid, and I don't think they gonna do a slim version or, you know. I think we just need to wait for like 2028 or something for a new console. Who knows? But I don't see Xbox or even PlayStation bringing out a slim version or
to be
a
fair,
smaller version. Or
I was going to say, to be fair, on the last gen, the One X didn't come out until, what was it, a year and a half before the end of the gen?
No, the One X came out 4 years.
It wasn't 4.
For the end of the gen. It was. No, hang on, 3 years. It was 2017.
2017,
so, yeah, it came out 2017. So, I have no doubt that they will bring one. This is like,
I think
it's a no-brainer.
It's just going to be late on if they do. I think it's probably 26 or something. I just don't think they'll do a refreshed console. What would technically be, we're not even in the middle of the gen yet. We're kind of going on kind of 2.5 years now. So it's I think it's still a little bit early for an actual mid-gen refresh. I think mid-gen will be in another kind of year and a half, 2 years, and that's, we're talking about the life cycle of generations now, 7 to 8 years. So this is.
See, it depends on what you define as a mid-gen refresh. If it's a slim model, then that's not a refresh.
Yeah.
Like a Pro is more of a refresh, like a PlayStation Pro.
Yeah.
A Slim is not a refresh. A Slim is the same specs. A refresh is obviously higher spec console. Yeah.
I don't see that happening. I think we'll get slimmer consoles, but I don't think we'll get a mid-gen refresh. I mean, it took them up till recently to get chips back into rotation properly and get more stocks out for the consoles. I don't see a mid-gen refresh.
I think what Xbox would rather focus on, unlike last year with the mid-gens, is just adding another one on the top of it. Is instead of it being like a mid-gen refresh, it would just be the next console. I think that's what they're focused on. So we know that they're focusing on things like backwards compatibility. We know that's possible. They use cloud as a leverage as well to make sure people don't fall behind on that. So even if you've got an Xbox One, you can cloud stream games that are on Xbox Series X. So they know there's a method there to their madness. So they'll just, I think, they'll just focus on the next one.
I also think that Xbox has got to a point now where they realise the power narrative isn't doing them anything special. I mean, PlayStation 5 is
but you
slightly less
can't
powerful
lose it
than the
either.
Xbox.
You can't lose it either. So they have to do it. If Sony does it, they have to do it. And since they know that they cannot rely
I
on
don't
Sony
think
not
Sony are
doing
going to
it.
do it either. Sony will have a
No,
slump.
absolutely. That's
it.
more or less, but confirmed. So
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty much like, as much as people want to say they're not the same, the PS5 and the Series X are pretty much there or thereabouts the same on power. It's marginal differences when we're talking about the actual kind of benefits that the Xbox has on its power side, but there are some drawbacks to the technology on both fronts. The major thing is that it's unlike previous generations. The change already in the 2.5 years of this gen, as we've pointed out, is it's already went from Zen 2 when the consoles launched to Zen 4, which is what it is now. And we've had already kind of 2 lots of GPU changes within that time frame as well. The previous generation, you didn't have that many. In the first couple of years of the life cycle, it was nowhere near as much of a change. It was a little bit more staggered. Like halfway through, it required one, but even then, we're talking the One X when it eventually did come out was still kind of keeping up with some decent PC gaming rigs, so it was worthwhile for it. But now we're talking like, if you have a look at where the actual PC side of things is and the actual technology that's available, we're talking kind of DLSS 3, we're talking kind of the high-end versions of FSR and things. We're talking potentially even if they go down the hardware route for AMD going forwards to do with super sampling, instead of doing software route, then it'll require an upgrade as well. If we're talking about the actual CPU, go on.
I really don't see it. Like with this whole power narrative thing, yeah, it might have been something that worked last gen. I don't see it working this gen, and I think both companies realise that. We might get slimmer versions of the consoles, but I don't feel that this next gen refresh is going to be a thing.
I think
most people would look at that and go, okay, well, there's already 3 SKUs for the Xbox now because they've got the new version of the Series S coming out.
Yeah.
With the bigger hard drive. Just what's the point?
And
what's the point?
We've said this before, though. I think the main thing that holds back,
and they've got PCs as well.
The main
if you
thing
want
that
your
holds
power
back
narrative,
both of them,
you've got a PC for that.
Yeah, the main thing that holds back both of the consoles, though, I think, is the reliance on an APU instead of having a separate CPU and GPU.
Yeah,
I think having an APU is a massive drawback for them because it doesn't really give them flexibility.
Yeah.
And we're already at a point with Xbox where like a lot of the tools are not getting used by a lot of third-party developers.
Yeah.
So what's the point in adding more technology on top of that ain't going to get utilized anyway?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a case of...
I disagree. I totally disagree, honestly. That's exactly the problem. A lot of these things where we rely on power and everything come actually from the fact that they are complicated to use. And you definitely could brute force a lot more things by simply having more capable hardware. And if you look at the pace with which technology advances, I do get what the Chen is saying, that the power narrative itself isn't probably as important for console sales per se. But on the other hand, it's also like that simply the world has moved on. And saying that the power narrative is reserved for the PC is just not true, because PC is not the same as consoles. There is a market for consoles, there is a market for PC, and console gamers are hungry for power. A lot of console owners on both sides, PlayStation and Sony, are not happy with the current gen consoles. They are not. They didn't deliver what we've been promised. We've been promised consistent 60 FPS. The performance mode is 120. That's what we've been promised. We've been promised these amazing graphics. And
these consoles were, in a way, future-proofed for all this use of technology that hasn't been really utilized.
It hasn't used. It hasn't used.
So what's
and
the point
it
of
never
adding
will.
more
It
hardware
never
on top
will.
of that right now when it's not even going to get utilized then?
I think the main
It's the
issue,
future.
for
That's the
Xbox,
thing.
the main
future-proof.
issue for
You-
Xbox specifically was that they waited. They did wait, and of course, this is why there's kind of a better version of the Zen 2 CPU in the Xbox. They did wait till the very last minute until releasing it, but that also had its major drawbacks in that the dev kit wasn't fully updated for those that were already making games for the Series X and S, with the tools that should have been available for the games that were launching. So they had a drawback in which that, yes, okay, they wanted to have the most up-to-date technology at that point for its release, but the drawback is that because they waited so long, because they pushed out
I don't see
the
it,
updates, it did
especially
cause an
with the
issue.
console price going up as well.
Hmm.
I don't see it.
Yeah, I
That
think
just means the pro
there ha-
version's
I
going to
think
be
it
more
bad.
expensive.
there has been. I would say it's not that I don't see it. I think it will happen later in the gen. I just think it's been pushed back to a couple of years because of the way the gen has already opened up. I don't think that. I think the original plans would have been. They probably would have had refreshed consoles next, like actual
But
refreshed consoles.
there'll be a new
next year.
generation before then.
I think that's where.
But
This
by the
is
time
my-
it gets
My
to the
thinking,
point
Gen,
of them pushing that out further, they'd be closer to a new gen console anyway, so they might as well just go for the new gen console.
My thinking anyway is that I think Xbox want to do away with having refreshes and they just want the next iterative console. Instead of just saying, here's an updated version of the one we've got, they want to just focus on the next one because they want to have, they understand the way technology is going and how iterative it is. And having the technology in place that they do, which allows kind of nice
Well, we
transitions
even
between
heard from
gens.
Sony at the beginning of this generation that they said that the gap between generations is going to be slimmer.
Yeah.
So I don't feel that there's any necessary reason for a
think-
mid-gen console.
I think
if their
for
goal is
PlayStation,
to get PlayStation 6 out before.
For PlayStation, there will be, because they don't have the ability to just drop the gen and move on to the next, because they don't have a good streamlined way of not dropping the previous gen whilst also giving access to the games that are on the next gen. Xbox still have that. You can play the OG Xbox One and you can play Starfield on it via the cloud, and you can play the game on the Xbox One, which
But all
means
of
that they
these
can
things-
move forward with a brand new console. Like, they can literally just say, right, forget doing a fucking refreshed console with a little bit more power. That's a 1X Premium or a 1X Elite, or a Series X Elite or a Series X Premium, whatever they want to call it. We'll just do the next series console, an actual next console. And the Series S, the Series X will be absolutely fine. We'll still do them. But even if the Series S gets dropped off, we've got cloud support on that anyway, so at least the Series S will be able to continue with it. I think they'll just do the next console for Xbox. I think PlayStation, however, will do an iterative upgrade. I think they will have a refreshed console, an actual refreshed powerhouse.
I don't think so. I think that the problem is I'm not sure if we will ever see like this real next gen console anymore. I think these consoles will evolve, especially from Xbox side of things. Like, okay, here's the Series Z or whatever it's gonna be called. Yeah, the Series Y, or I don't know. But that's the thing. Again, if you look at what the consoles can do today and don't do today, it becomes so obvious that developers are not willing to optimize for all those tools and all those features that are in these consoles. Apparently, they are just not, and for good reason. Yeah, because they have to develop those games anyway for PC, and so PC is gonna be the way that developers look at this. Okay, what do we need to do to make games available on PC, and consoles need to keep up with that, and that's why they need more power, and that's why they will get more power. And so I have no doubt that we will see those consoles. We have all these leaks and rumors. Dev kits apparently
optimized on
already
PC are worse than consoles
Yeah,
most of the time.
yeah, at times. It depends on who's
Yeah,
optimized
but
them.
it's really
Not all of them, though.
no. That's I wouldn't say that.
It depends on who's optimized them.
So
If it's like if you have a look at the Xbox games on PC, they are highly optimized. Like Gears is just insanely optimized. If you have a look at all the Forza games, they're extremely optimized. Like it's depends
Yeah.
on the studio. Like some of them are just dog shit. Some of them are just dog shit, but that's because it's whoever's done the porting to the PC.
There's been a lot of console ports this year that have come out, but not console ports to PC that have come out and have performed bad. Hogwarts Legacy was one of them that had worse performance. I'm trying to think what a few of the other ones are.
Forspoken.
Because
The Last
oh
of
no,
Us.
it's Alex. Has done a lot of PC port reviews,
Yeah.
and he shows you how bad they perform.
So a lot of the ones that were
big
marketed by
problems.
Sony, funnily enough.
Yeah. But again, the likes of The Last of Us wasn't done by Nixus, which was a very strange decision. Like that's the whole purpose of buying Nixus. Like they are PC port specialists. It's the reason you buy Nixus is to do your PC ports for you, and they didn't get involved in The Last of Us, which was a really odd decision. That game wouldn't have had those issues if they'd done the port. We've seen the games that Nixus have done, and they've worked well on PC. They've been highly optimized. You have a look at Horizon when that released. You have a look at God of War when that released. Very optimized games when they've made their port over to PC. Then you saw, The Last of Us, and that was dog shit. So it depends on who's porting it. There has been some terrible ones though. But overall, specifically games that are PC only, highly optimized. Woo! I love these debates.
whew,
I love these debates.
That's why we have them.
Exactly. It's great. It's great fun.
It's nice to butt heads sometimes
It
because
is.
it's not just what's it
not an echo
called?
chamber.
Yeah, an echo chamber.
Sean, what do you think? Do you think we're going to see refreshed consoles?
No, I don't think we need refresh consoles. I mean, we needed a refresh console the day the Xbox One and the PS4 came out.
Yeah. yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so. I mean, it's not to say that Sony aren't considering it because it's more money.
Yeah.
You know, they know their fans will double dip, and the Xbox to an extent, you know, would double dip. If an Xbox One came out, I don't think I would double dip this time. I didn't see enough of a benefit really from the One X to warrant.
really? You
Not massive.
do you have a 4K TV?
I do, but not
yeah,
one that I'm kind of like, oh well, I definitely need to have this. Especially when the new generation started a year and a half later.
I felt I got more.
Well, it was
from
3 years later, yeah.
Or
So
3 years. Or
I
whatever.
felt I got more from the.
yeah,
One X.
but come on.
I got mine a year and a half after they came out just because I couldn't afford it.
Mm.
My biggest point is it's only up until recently that the whole chip shortage has sorted itself out. PlayStations are readily available. Xboxes are readily available. Now they're going to be selling more numbers of those consoles. Is it really a priority for them
I don't think it's a priority.
to put towards a mid-gen refresh?
I agree. I don't think it's a priority. I think they do. They are looking at them. I think both of them are looking at them. But I think plans for an actual mid-gen refresh have probably been pushed back a year or two. I think the original rollout timescales definitely moved. I think, and that's not because of
But then
anything else
again,
other than the way.
if it's pushed out a year or two, then
But I also,
the next generation consoles
Yeah, you
are supposed to come sooner rather than later.
you see, I think this is why I'm saying it's been pushed out a year or two, because I don't think the gen's going to finish as soon as they probably would have liked to originally, because of the way things have went initially. Like this opening first year and a bit of the console generation was pretty slow and lackluster. No one actually presented any games that were next gen only, or current gen, should we say. Like everything was still crossover. It took even longer to get through because of the pandemic. We've seen Xbox go through a state of not having anything last year, like 0 games from a first party perspective released last year for Xbox. Sony are in that boat next year. Like they've got Spider-Man this year, and then next year they've got fuck all, and that's because the pandemic's caught up to them. Like they've released their cadence of games. They've released their Ghost of Tsushimas and the God of Wars and the Horizon Forbidden Wests and the Returnals and the Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man 2. Like they've got that done, but beyond that, they're now screwed because all of the games that they had that were in development for this initial cycle's been pushed back, whereas Xbox's games that were in development, because they hadn't had a strong lineup, were pushed back in the middle of that. We knew the launch was terrible because Halo didn't launch with it, and then they had nothing but third parties to launch with. So they launched with third party games, and then they had an okay second year, and then the third year was terrible. Sorry, a good second year. First year was terrible. Good second year. Terrible sort of last year, and now we're coming into this year of the Gem, which is the third year onwards. And only now we're Xbox getting on top of their cadence. And PlayStation have had it catch up with them now. And now their cadence of games is starting to suffer. And we're not going to see... I don't think we'll see anything first party from PlayStation until 25. Which is something that the PlayStation guys won't like to hear. But it's true.
Yeah. I maybe we will get some weird ass games as a service game that no one cares about. But I do agree. Sony is definitely running dry.
Yeah.
One more reason why they need the excitement of new console and new hardware and everything.
That's why they're just going to bring this Slim out and just push the Slim for a bit.
See, the only argument I could see why Xbox might not bring one is that we have seen that Xbox really doesn't care about consoles anymore. It's like a byproduct.
Well, that's why I'm saying that they would just move on to the next instead of bringing out like an iterative. They'll just go.
Yeah, but when they are not gonna have like a weaker console for 4 or 5 years. Yeah. That's just not gonna happen.
Well, the time scale's up for debate, I think, because it could be later. It could be they just kind of move on, but I don't think they will. I think time scales have been pushed back for these things. I think Sony will definitely do a slim version because I think one of the things that everybody's complained about with the PlayStation 5 is it's an absolute fucking monster. It's
absolutely always done slim versions of their console since even the PlayStation 1. They had a smaller, slimmer version of the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
So a slim is my best guess.
Whereas Xbox doesn't need a slim.
Probably what's going to come out towards the end of this year or next year.
Yeah, and I don't think Xbox needs a slim because they've got the S.
Oh yeah.
So they don't need a slim.
They could do a slim of the Series X for all we know.
Nah, they can't.
Nah.
They can't. It's the architecture. The architecture would say no. It's a split motherboard. The way they've got that built, it would mean a complete and utter change of the way that is designed internally.
Yeah. That's true. So no slim, but definitely a pro.
Yeah. At some point.
Nah.
I think if they do one, it's just not going to be anytime soon. I think it's going to be a couple of years at least. I think it's going to be at least 2 years until we see Xbox's next iterative version, if they do one.
I mean, 2 years, that's 25, right? So, of course, like I said, all pointers point toward the PS5 Pro coming out next year. So, of course, one year after that, it could be, but latest in 25, we will get one.
Yeah. For the Black John in chat with regards to the Series X, no, it's a split motherboard. So the motherboard's in two parts, and they're actually back to back. So I've done a breakdown on my channel when I did the unveiling of the Hellblade Series X, which I made. So I showed the internals of it. So it's actually encased in a huge metal aluminium casing for the heat. So which is why the Series X doesn't overheat, because it's actually heat set really, really very well insulated with a giant fan on top. But it's a split motherboard, so you've got the APU and the GPU separate and the back to back on the internally. So they're linked in between with all the cabling. It is really, honestly, it's so well put together internally. It's really, really interesting to look at. It's not like, as you've seen with the likes of the even a PC or the PS5, you've just got the one circuit board, all the heat components on top of it, the fan on top, the GPU, the CPU, etc., all built in with the SSD. Nope, completely and entirely different on the Series X. Like the Series S is just your standard build. It's just a regular circuit board with all the components on top. Sweet. Series X, completely, yeah, it is not simple, and it's no wonder it took a little bit of time to get that down. Yeah, it's very interesting, but it's definitely not something you could slimline unless they completely revamp it and just turn it into a singular circuit board, which would be
Yeah, but
weird.
it could even mean that they need to do an SoC redesign, and that's not gonna happen for Slim.
Yeah, exactly. Could they, like you say, with regards improved SSD, but even then, I think the SSD's fine. With regards the improved CPU, GPU, yes, absolutely. With regards the amount of RAM on the console, absolutely. They could significantly increase the RAM allowance on both of those consoles to give a lot more overhead. The amount of RAM you can put in for a very, very small amount on PC these days. You can easily put in 64 to 64 gig plus on a PC of like 3200 megahertz, and super cheap. Like you're talking 32 gig for like $100 for a 3200 megahertz stick. So yeah, and thanks to those in chat as well, congratulating on 3 years One Way Dragons. Thank you very much. And 3-bit, thank you, sir. And Sergeant, thank you. But yes, it's going to be intriguing. I just think my point of view is that we could get them if they do their pushback. I think PlayStation's definitely likely to do one. I think they will anyway, but they're probably going to do a Slim first, and we'll potentially see maybe a Pro next year or even the beginning of 25 if it has been pushed out. Why? Because the reason I would say that you might see the PS5 Pro get pushed back is because there's no major release to go with it. Like if
How many generations has these Pro consoles existed for?
One.
Yeah.
Then why do we think it's going to happen again?
Because it makes sense.
Well, no, we not really, because we in the 360
doesn't really make sense.
In the 360,
it makes absolutely sense.
In the 360, we did get one.
You're muted, Mick.
Makes them money, is what I said.
We did get one with a
Probably why
360, but we got it in a different form. So on the PlayStation 4, you didn't. Sorry, on the PlayStation 3, you didn't. You got the PS3 Slim. On the Xbox front, because obviously there wasn't too much to improve on there anyway. On the 360, you got the 360 Elite, which added more RAM and more hardware space and things like that. So it was it was a beefier console. It had your extra hard drive space and things like that. So that was the kind of first implementation of an iterative approach to the consoles in the 360 generation. And then it moved on to the One X, which did it because Microsoft was severely lacking from the start. So they needed to. I think the only case in point that would suggest that they would require one this gen is the fact that, like I mentioned before, unlike last gen or the gen before, the speed in which technology's releasing now is so much quicker than it ever has been. Literally every few months there's another improvement on whether it be DLSS or FSR or all of the kind of back end stuff, or whether or not be the APU, CPUs, GPUs, RAM, SSDs.
Yeah,
like everything is increasing.
I mean, look at the 360 gen and the PS3 gen. They went on for 8 years.
Yeah,
and in the last 2 years, games ran like Skyrim came out. It ran at like 10 FPS. On a PS3, it ran at parts at 3 FPS.
Well, even if you have a look,
Hardware.
Boxy, if you have a look at what they've stopped, which is one thing that kept even the PC space going a little bit longer in the last gen, was they used to do these dual GPU things. So instead of releasing another GPU, they were allowing people to do, okay, we're going to have twin 1080s or twin 1080 Ti's. So all PC builds them with 2 GPUs. So it was okay. Do you want
SLI
more
in it.
power? Okay, then you can add another GPU and you get you more power. They don't
SLI.
do that now. You have a singular card, so then they just make a beefy card. So they have the 10. Obviously, you have the 4060, the 4070, the 4080, the 4090. Then you have 4090 Ti, but the increase in power and the increase in spec as they go up. But then they release another batch the next year and they continuously increase. So the last gen, it wasn't like that. The last gen, you had the 970 to begin the generation on, and then the tail end of it, you only just started getting the 20 series cards. Like, we've already went up 2 series of cards in 2 years. You went up from the 20 series to the 40 series in 2 years.
And that's why I'm saying it just makes sense. Like it or not, the tools are never going to be used. Just too much work, too complicated, not going to happen. It comes down to raw power of the consoles. And as of right now, they're already outdated by 2 gens on the PC side of things. And by next year, it's going to be almost 3. Yeah, we will get, like, already Zen 4 CPUs are out. We have Zen 2 in our consoles. Zen 5 CPUs are on the horizon. Yeah, that's just a matter of fact. And with that, next year or the year after in 25, it makes absolutely sense to bring the consoles again back in the ballpark of being state of the art.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's only because of the way the technology is moving now is why they would do another iterative one. If PC technology hadn't increased at the pace it has over the last couple of years, in comparison to last gen, I think it we wouldn't see these iterative ones till later on in the gen. But technology's advancing really quickly now, so it's a different story. That's the only reason it would. I think that's the only reason they would release another one.
Hey, I'm already holding RDNA 3 in my hand. Right here. Just saying.
Yep.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Are we done with this topic now?
We are.
Yeah.
We're actually gonna wrap up the evening now. I know Shom had to leave early before, so but he was expecting to. But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up now. But thank you to everybody for joining us this evening as we also celebrated, of course, as people know, our 3rd year of podcasting now. So we've been doing this for 3 years. Starting our 4th as of now. So woohoo! It's been a blast. We've got a lot of awesome stuff coming up, of course. We've still got the next Indie Showcase coming out in September, after Gamescom, of course. We also have our charity events later on in the year as well, which is usually October, November. So we'll be doing that. So look out on the socials for our charity fundraising events as well. And obviously we'll be aiming to add another few thousand on top of that for our grand total here. Try and get it up from 4,000 to maybe 6,000 or something. We'll see. But hey, between us, if we've got one charity, well, I'm sure we can smash it. Between us this year, we did 1,700, Pat. So I'm sure we can try and push for another 1,700 to 2 this year. And of course, our awesome community and everybody around it as well. All the support for charity obviously doesn't go unnoticed. It's much appreciated. But thanks to everybody for your support over the last 3 years, and of course to 3 more awesome years. But a thank you to my panel, past and present, who've obviously supported me and supported ourselves throughout the time so far. It's been an absolute blast. And of course, I couldn't do it without you, because it would just be me sitting and talking to myself into a void if I didn't have you guys here. So yeah, much appreciated for all you guys as well, because of course without you it wouldn't be the show. So thank you very much for joining me on this journey. Yeah, it's been a blast, so thank you. And let's get our outros done. First and foremost, Marianne, let people know where they can find you, brother.
Well, guys, you can find me on Twitter at MarianTheMad, which is right here.
Yes.
Here's the handle. And on Xbox, because I have a lot of games to catch up on.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I need to start finishing some bloody games. That's what I need to do.
Oh yeah, I need to finish Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh,
I haven't finished that.
Get on it. It's an awesome, especially
definitely.
the last section's awesome. You need to definitely finish that.
Oh, I'm so excited about that. And again, Dutch, congratulations to all of you for 3 years of MIDWEEK MIXUP podcast. And it wouldn't be possible without you, Dutch, because you brought together a group of diverse gamers from all over the world, not just one country, but many other countries, which this is what makes MIDWEEK MIXUP the best. We have a lot of countries like Germany, like UK, even myself, Romania.
Yes.
And
Yeah, the Netherlands,
it's
Scotland,
amazing
you name
because
it.
we have a lot of different point of views, but in the end, we all understand each other because that's all about. It's all about games in the end. And
Yes.
it's amazing.
Well said. Well said. Thank you very much. Thank you. Jen,
Always.
let people know where they can find you, brother, and what you've got coming up.
Yeah, you can pretty much find me everywhere at the General C. My @ name right below my General C name on the screen. I should be back to streaming tomorrow or Friday. Been a bit of a hectic week, but I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a blast. Congrats on 3 years. Like I said, I've been a part of it for like 2, I think, close to 2.
Yeah.
It's been crazy how quick that's gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it is.
And again, I'll say it again. It's been great to see everybody grow. And of course, Boxy started out just doing content creation, and now I'm proud to be on his own show as well. World gaming with him now and being his co-host. So it's great to see that take off and doing as well as it has been doing, and it's been phenomenal. And seeing Jen come out of your shell, and now you're doing your awesome stuff. And of course, I know you're working on some awesome projects in the background as well, and following that. And yeah, it's great to see the confidence from a lot of people on here as well that were either low on confidence or had never done something like that before, and now they're beaming and full of energy and stuff now. So it's awesome to see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I never ever expected to be a part of a podcast, and then like that.
Look at
just
you
that
now.
one show I was on, I was addicted to it. So yeah, it's been a blast being a part of it and meeting some great people along the way. And here's to many more years meeting new people and being a part of an awesome community.
Definitely. Boxy, let people know where they can find you, brother, and what you've got coming up.
Yeah, man. First, again, thanks to 3 awesome years. Can't believe, hey. Again, it's like crazy to think about that we've been doing this for 3 years straight. It reminds me that I started my channel like 3.5 years ago. Can't believe that. It's crazy. And it's been an awesome ride. Like Chen said, the community here is just so amazing. And again, you bring people together with this show, and it's a fantastic milestone. And see where you've come. You're a name in the community. And that's so amazing. So again, big congrats here.
Just think, Boxy, you'll blink, and in a few years' time, we'll be celebrating World of Gaming's 3rd anniversary, and then so on.
I mean, the thing is, the channel itself existed for way longer than that. Like again, like it must have been now 3.5 years or so that I have the channel. But I've always been like doing edited videos on the channel, and only started like 1.5 years ago or so with the World of Gaming as my own podcast. And yeah, it's crazy. We already did 74 episodes tomorrow, Dutch, into World of Gaming. Like,
it's crazy, isn't it?
Crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, but man, it's been a blast to be on the show for 3 years, and it's gonna be a blast for the next 3 years and beyond. So yeah, cheers, man.
Cheers indeed. Mick, let people know where they can find you, brother, and what you've got coming up.
Yeah, I am going to Sea of Thieves Fest this weekend.
Nice.
So that's my thing. Yeah, gonna meet up with all the guys from.
Are you dressing up as a pirate?
No, I leave that to some of the other guys that are much better at it than I am. There's a guy called Joby that's who does all the cosplay stuff. He came as Pendragon last year. Amazing
You could have gone as Glitterbeard.
Glitterbeard. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think that might have been a bit of an insult to to Glitterbeard himself. But yeah, no, so I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, so I'm just Xbox Mic 29 everywhere. So yeah, just that's it at the moment.
Yes,
for
indeed.
me.
Yes, indeed. Having a mini break from Sea of Tuesdays for the second.
Yeah, it's just everything's getting on top of me at the moment. I just need a break from it.
Yeah, and we'll obviously when we come back
I
to it, though,
don't blame you.
when we come back to
Yeah.
it, we're going to play through the Monkey Island campaign.
Yes, yeah, we've got that coming up on the 20th, but it's going to be an episodic thing. So there's going to be like one every month.
Yeah.
So no rush to get back and do that when we can have a couple back to back.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be going. We're looking forward to that, obviously.
Yeah.
But at the moment, unfortunately, this is part of the problem with Sea of Thieves at the moment. There just hasn't been much in the way of new stuff.
Yeah.
We had the adventure the other week. It took like 45 minutes. It's done. That was it. It's just like it's not enough. Needs to be more. We know that we were working towards this. That's obviously what the delay has been. But there's also been a lot of cheaters. Apparently, they've had a lot of problem with cheaters. And they just put a post out saying they banned 15,000 people.
Wow.
Have been banned. Yeah. So
There's a lot of games lately have had loads of cheaters in it. I don't know what it is, but
yeah, it
seems to be a big fucking cheating problem in gaming at the moment.
Yeah, it is. But that's it. That's me for the moment.
Awesome stuff. And Phanto said, fun fact, Mick has a full pirate bodysuit tattoo. No cosplay required. Oh, dear me. Well, last but not least, of course.
Apart from in the underwear department.
Last but not least, of course, Patchu. Let people know where they can find you, brother, and what you've got coming up. Because you've got a fancy new stream at the moment.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that. You guys can find me, of course, on Twitter under the same name, Patchu070. Same counts for Twitch and for YouTube, because soon I'll be doing some live streams on my YouTube channel as well.
Awesome.
Dutch, thank you again for making the overlay. That looks incredible, of course, with the OG Xbox logo, the Series X, Series S on it. Love it. I love it, man. So thank you for that. So yeah, like I said, guys, I'll be doing some live streaming on my YouTube channel. If you're like not on Twitch, then YouTube is a good way to see what I do. And right now I'm grinding on Modern Warfare 2 actually. Been playing almost all afternoon with Stoodles. We played some Warzone. We got
need
some
to play
wins.
this
Yeah,
weekend.
man. Yeah, definitely. You can always jump in, so no problem at all.
Yeah.
I would have joined you, but I uninstalled it, and that game takes like 30 years to reinstall. So
One eternity later.
Yeah. And
one eternity later and an entire hard drive.
Yeah.
No. And a few weeks ago, I won a vampire game. I didn't install it yet.
Oh, Masquerade.
But soon, yeah, exactly. And soon I'll be doing a live stream on that one. So if you want to check that out, make sure to hop on the channel. So, but Dutch, thank you again, man, for this amazing 3 years, man. It's been a crazy ride. Been here since day one. Enjoyed it so very, very much. Met a lot of really nice people as well. Also from the other podcasts, of course. But yeah, man, it's I'm looking forward to much more years with you and with the other guys, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, man, Dutch, and big shout out to you, man. And also, of course, a big shout out to the community that supports us. That's been here every week, every show. So
yeah,
man.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
A great point to finish on, actually. A massive thank you to our community because, of course, the way everyone kind of behaves in our chat is phenomenal. It's a great place for the community to hang out, for gamers to hang out and chat, and everybody gets along, and there's no slander, there's no attacking each other. Everyone's fine. Everyone has a great opinion. Obviously,
Well, if you exclude the pineapple on pizza.
yeah. Apart from that, that's slanderous. But we have a timeout emoji for that, so of course we're all welcome to spam that when we see that. So, but yeah, outside of that, everyone has an awesome time in the chat, and everyone's really cool with each other. So, thank you all for being here and supporting us every week for the last 3 years, and all the new people that come and watch us. I hope you enjoy it, and hope you're around again in 3 years' time and beyond. We're closing in on 2K followers, so yeah, fingers crossed we'll hit that shortly. I know we've got a few more today, so thank you for the new subs as well today. I hope you enjoyed the show, and until next week, we shall see you all again then. Goodbye, have an awesome evening, and enjoy your games.
Yeah.
Take care.
See you guys.
Right, chat.